What is going on, everybody? Antonius, the gamer here with Mikkel Smith and Super SSS Rank. This is another episode 55 of the Press Start Select podcast.
Episode 55, man.
Episode
I'm grateful.
55. Yeah.
Grateful.
We don't beat the new pod stats 2 times over at this point. So
listen, forward momentum is better than no momentum, guys.
Absolutely. So, no stagnancy here. No stagnancy, man. I'm glad we were able to get all 3 of us together here for a pod before Tim takes his sabbatical back to the mother country. So let's waste no time, fellas, getting into the gaming big news this week. We have a couple of topics, a lot of nostalgia in tonight's episode. First thing being the gaming big news of God of War officially turns 20 years old. Sony had a whole rollout. They brought out both voice actors of Kratos. Of course, you got that free DLC skin that gave him the homage to the Kratos of Greece, let's say. And then of course we have the rumor that there's going to be some type of story, possibly set in Greece, but not confirmed. But some type of God of War content is rumored to be coming out this year. But before we get into that rumor, my question is, looking back at 20 years of God of War, what is your guys' impression of it? Walk me through when y'all first noticed the game. What made you want to play the game? What got you into the series? What's the story with that?
Well, for me, what made me first start, I was a very late bloomer. I got into God of War around the God of War collections for the PlayStation 3. That's why I played God of War 1 and 2, and then I was getting prepared for 3 at the time. So I wanted a full rundown of the story and what was everything. And then the second collection came out with the games from the PSP. So I really enjoyed those, man. And when seeing Kratos' story come to a climax, but then on a cliffhanger, I was very excited to see that trailer of him in Norse mythology, because it was back then. It was always this speculation, but what if he went to other lands and what would he do? And this one, I guess call it God of War 4 and 5. I really enjoyed them. You saw the growth of Kratos as a character in terms of how he handles situation. It's like the term that I would use is refined brutality. There was moments where he, the old Kratos would have just obliterated this whole village just to try to destroy you. But no, I don't have to do that this time. I am very more precise in my approach. Even you could see the hesitation, even when he was fighting Baldur, he wanted to kill this man. I mean, eventually, yeah.
But he was forced to. He wasn't. Every time they ran into each other, he wasn't looking for him. Pretty much.
Yeah. So so to speak, man. It was a very good, well-rounded story. There were some minor parts with Ragnarok that I felt like it could have been a bit more polished. But Kratos Goes to Therapy DLC. There was one part I felt like they should have put the extra effort was when he saw himself, his younger self. And I was like, bro, this would have been a perfect moment to have the dialogue of the 2 actors going at it back and forth about clarity, peace, moving on. I mean, actually, I wouldn't say peace, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But moving on in a sense. And it was just no, he just looking at him in a silent way. I mean, it still worked its way, but I was like, bro, that could have been the moment. That could have been the moment, man. But honestly, it's been a good series. I mean, I'm glad that, it didn't turn into this multiverse madness of, he goes to this place, he goes to that place. It was very no, let's not get too carried away here. But it was a good celebration, man. A very, very good celebration.
Okay. That's Frank. What about you? What was your experience with God of War? How'd you get into it? What kept you involved with the character for 20 years?
I think for me was the first time was those Game Informers that we were getting in 7th grade. So I mean not 7th grade. 7th grade. the first Game Informer magazines, and we're just looking at it like, yo, this is a new game, hey man. So we're looking at it. You play as a Spartan. We're like, oh snap, for real. So we're getting into Greek mythology. We're reading some of the books that came with the English books mandatory English books that you get in elementary school. I mean, in junior high school. So from then on, we just just looking throughout the magazine, and then after that, the demo finally drops, and we play it. I think they used to come on disc, and
Mhm.
so you finally play it on the PlayStation 2, and you're like, yo, the quick time events with the boom, then the just circle around the enemy. You're like, yo, what is this? So
Yeah.
it was more of a different interactive experience than I was used to. So now you gotta button, and I love the button mashing because it was more like a test your might
Mhm.
type of feel. And so now you're
Right. The
and you just
Minotaur is
feel
trying
the
to fight
pop.
back. You're just like, nope.
Yeah, and then you're tearing the Minotaurs apart.
Mm.
Then to me, that was my favorite mode, where Kratos would turn to the Omega form,
Mm.
and he would have his Spartan form formed a
Like
helmet
helmet.
made out
Yeah.
of pure lightning.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, nah, this is raw, you know?
Mm. Mm.
And then just seeing his weapon choice was just, you would expect a sword and shield, but he had these two blades with chains on it. And it was just like a different form of combat that were like, you would feel it. So like he's throwing the chain swords at you, gripping you, grabbing you. And we was like, yo, who is this? Who is this character?
Mm-hmm.
And so in the light of action games, it was Ninja Gaiden, Devil May Cry. Now you have another contender, God of War, and none of them played the same.
Mm.
So it was just that variety that you were getting, and it was just a different form of storytelling. The main character, he lost his family,
He's
but it was
depressed
just that
at the
he's
very.
depressed. He throws himself off the cliff of Olympus, and we're like,
Mm-hmm.
he threw himself off. This is the stuff that teen boys crave.
Mm.
That level of magnitude and scale of a story, that epic storytelling, the visuals, like you're all of a sudden you're running in this hallway, and then the camera pans out, and now you see this big statue that you have to find a way to get the two to come together, or the
Right. You see the
first.
little glimmering light way.
Yeah, way at the top, or even that boat scene, man, like, please, can you help me? No. And it just and you just like, yo, Kratos. And then the name Kratos, it resonated with the inner the boy in me,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was really looking forward to it. And it's just that time at the cafeteria. Yo, did you get the new God of War? Yeah, man. So everybody's huddled around looking at the magazine. Yo, I gotta get the game. I got it, man. You want to hold it? Did you beat it? Nah, I couldn't. I can't get past the last boss battle. And it was just, the scale would amp up. Like, who thought that boss battle with Ares would be on that level?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just, we were getting stuff, we were getting games, man, finished games. And in that era, like, everything was just perfect if you wanted to play a video game everywhere.
Mm.
So that's what attached me to God of War. And plus, when part two came out, it was just, oh my favorite line, submit. I would rather die. And then you're pressing the over, like that stuff, right? To me,
Mm.
oh man, that E3, that E3, I was like, now we lost as Xbox fans because we don't got that statue fight. Yo, I was hurt. I'm watching E3 like, and then
Yeah.
Kratos is like, Zeus, is this all you got? And after that, the statue comes, bam, and then all his life bar goes down, and just like, ooh,
Mm-hmm.
back to formula.
Yep.
No, man, it was like, it was a breath of fresh air, because you're like, man, this is the industry I want to be a part of. If it's gonna be like this,
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to be challenged to make sure that my team could bring out a product just as good. So that was it, man. Like, that was my fond memory with God of War, and we can go on and on. For me, my favorite parts of that trilogy, that first trilogy, and then of course the PSP games, which were extremely interesting. I don't know why.
Yeah, there was
I
some
don't know
very good
why they
story
didn't make
elements in it.
those.
Yeah, the endings were very rushed
Yeah.
because it's a PSP game. Like, oh yeah, budget up.
Yeah,
But then
it's
on top of
like
that, like some of the plot lines, I'm like, this doesn't seem like something that you would just do on the side. Like, yeah, Kratos had a brother. He kills his mom. What else happens? It's like, whoa.
and then his brother's weapon was insane. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
literally a Spartan, a shield and spear. Like so,
Yeah. He
um,
fights the goddess of sleep and dreams. It's like, and this is the side story. It's like, oh, all
side
right.
story,
All
my
right.
boy.
This
So
is
there was
non-essential
obviously
reading.
an epic storytelling with that game, and I just appreciated it, man, because it was different. It was true to what it was, just like Ninja Gaiden's true to what it is, and Devil May
Mm,
Cry is true to
To
what
be
it is.
honest, playing 1 and 2, and then the 2 PSP games really like. Yeah, when it got time for part 3, I was like, yeah, bro, I see why he wants to just kill all of you. I there's nothing I can say that like y'all deserve it.
right. Y'all are
Y'all really deserve
manipulative.
it.
You're lying. You're cruel. Like, we could all go. No one. Once they killed Athena, I'm like, yo, the rest of that pantheon can get dusted as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, but then you realize even her, like she was kind of shifty.
Yeah, she wasn't the. I would say she was the least worst out of the worst. Like, she wasn't great, but compared to what the rest of them was doing, I'm like, all right, she was the good, I guess, neutral ground between them. Like, when you compare it to the Sisters of Fate, they're pretty terrible people. Like, they were all like, all the gods were like not the greatest.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, I just appreciated that time, man, and it was just such a great time, man. To be a gamer.
Mhm.
And it was just, yeah, I mean, I could go on and on, man. It was all of that. It was the challenge. It was the unique weaponry, the unique weapons, the boss battles, man. That's the most satisfying. I could say those games give you the most satisfying boss battles versus a lot of other video games.
I would
So
probably say in agreement with you, like compared to at least with the games that I've played personally, God of War's bosses, like throughout the collection or throughout the series, are probably within my top 5 list of like what game series has the best boss fights of all time. It makes my top 5. Like,
yeah,
for me,
well deserved.
there's just moments that of like even the things that people don't really take into consideration of like I'll never forget playing God of War 3 when you fight Poseidon at the beginning. And it's like, fam, I'm fighting Poseidon
The
on
tutorial.
Gaia's arm.
Mind you, that's the tutorial.
That's a tutorial. That's how this game starts. He pulls up with the trident. He has horses with crab legs made of water. I'm like, oh my gosh, bro. And then the boss fight ends with Gaia with the Megaton punch. Sends Kratos flying through the air. Grabs Poseidon. You get the view from Poseidon's view of Kratos over him. Just
No, I didn't think they could one up 2's E3 presentation of that tutorial with the giant statue being awakened by Zeus.
Mm-hmm.
But they did it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, here we are.
Yeah, for me, it was something as simple as I remember the game came out. I don't think I got to play it right away. Bless you. I don't think I got to play it right away, but ironically, it was around the same time I was turning 17. So once upon a time, game stores cared about you being of age when you bought certain games. And I'm like, you know what? I'm old enough to buy my own games. I know my parents are going to give me a hard time if I buy Grand Theft Auto. What's another mature rated game that I could buy that they won't even know what it is? And they're like, oh, God of War is really, really, really good. I'm like, okay, I like action games. And the rest is history. It was the first mature rated game that I bought for myself was God of War 1. And that's what started the whole process of like, anytime a new God of War came out, I had to play it. I had to. Even God of War 2, which some people say, oh, it's too long, has too many boss fights. I'm like, no, this is what a complete game looks like. I can take my time. I'm going to fight this person, fly off of Icarus's wings, go fight, Atlas. Like, it's just like the lore and the set pieces for me, of like, people always talk about Uncharted and set pieces. I'm like, no, God of War and set pieces, the things that Kratos was doing and the effect it was having on the environment around him. I'm just like, man, even his fight with Hercules in God of War 3, when he's taking his gloves,
We don't even gotta go that far because I was thinking about Disney's Hercules that whole time. I said, "Yo, you stand no chance, my boy."
Yeah, and the thing
No
is, it was
chance.
the guy that voiced him was the guy who played Hercules in this live action series.
Jeez.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
I did not
the
know that.
live action
Oh,
Hercules
that's
played.
a good way to tie it in.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. So, God of War 20 years, well deserved. I'm glad that even the rebranding, God of Boy Kratos, I'm glad that it was still well received, and
Oh,
that
that's
people were,
right. God
yeah,
boy.
I mean that's what they call him. And people are wanting more adventures from him at this point, 20 years deep. Right? We've seen a lot of franchises collapse by the wayside, especially a franchise like that, where it initially prioritized like action and violence over story, for it to kind of like find its middle ground of like, here's a good story, here's still a satisfying different take on combat, and something that's true to the character and makes sense for where he is in his life. So I'm excited. I don't know. I guess moving on to the rumor part, like let's just assume that the rumor is 100% accurate and it is going to be a side story placed in Greece. Are you guys open to that? Because it'd be kind of like, I'm assuming some type of flashback prequel.
No, for me, no. And I mean, personally, for me, no. I do feel like we've gotten to the point where we've stretched out certain things long enough, and we've seen what happens to other companies when you do that for too long. Yes, I know visually it would be great, but then they've already done one thing where you could tell, yeah, it was just like this wasn't really necessary. And then it's so funny how we didn't even mention it. All of us, God of War Ascension.
You know what? I'll defend that game.
I actually really like God of War Ascension.
That game, to me, has the best combat system out of the original PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 run. Because the magic actually did something in that game. It was actually useful. And I think the boss battles were maybe not as good as the mainline series, but on par to me. Now the story,
The story wrap up was the hitter for me, and then of course the whole Force multiplayer.
Yeah. I can't defend that, but I don't think it's as bad as people say it is.
Yeah, that's why I felt. To be honest, we're like we've done enough. I feel like it's time for a lot of these studios to bring something new to the table. Sony Santa Monica is a very talented studio, so like, you honor your past, but it's like, yeah, bro, we kind of don't. It's time to move on. It really is time to move on. And that's personally for me, it's time to move on. Even with the way how Ragnarok ended, is like, all right, Atreus is going on some journey. And to be honest, we don't have to see that.
No. And I don't think we want to either. Like that's
we don't have to see
that. Most of the
that.
audience is like, or good actually on the Atreus.
And that's why, like I said, bro, like Valhalla minus one small detail. That was good for me. That was honestly good. That was honestly good for me.
I could have used one more boss fight at least in Valhalla, but it's free.
I mean, well, you got multiple.
Multiple.
No, see the thing. All right, when he fought Tyr, like especially when Tyr had different weapons, it's kind of like a mirror of himself. I did the same thing you did. I went to multiple places, I killed multiple people, and I have their weapons as trophies. In a sense, so you had to fight me in different fighting styles, and every time you won, you were able to gain some clarity about past things that happened to you. And then, of course, the big ultimate, he saw himself, and I was like I said, bro, like I was cool with that. I really was.
I'm conflicted because I really want my God of War set in Egypt. I really want to see Kratos fight Ra and Anubis and all of it. I want to see it. I
kind of wish they did God of War
he went there. He did go there, but he didn't kill anyone. It was the halfway point of when after Greece, but then head into Norse mythology. Like I think he met Horus. But it wasn't like in a whole Egyptian adventure where he just obliterated a whole pantheon. Like no, like the man was still traumatized about what happened. So it was just a placeholder. And honestly, I like how they handled it because first of all, that's too much. I feel like there's like, we got 2 rounds. We got 2 good rounds. And I feel like, they actually delivered the best of their ability.
Mhm.
Because it's just after a while it just starts to get redundant. Like, I look at it like this. Star Wars, the prequel, and then Star Wars, the main trilogy. And then look how the third trilogy was just like, yeah, when you do too many sets, it starts to get very diluted and very worn out. So, like I said, man, and that was also during the time where a lot of people they were experimenting with different avenues in terms of, what they wanted to do in terms of different media. So, like even the comics, man, like some of the prequel comics that are actually considered canon, I
Mhm.
enjoy those. Now, yes, if you don't really research these things, you have to go out your way to find it out. But they were good.
Okay. I mean, I do. I think Sony does have a dilemma right now where a lot of their, I guess you could say, namesake characters have kind of aged out. Like that was one of the first pods you ever did of like, what's the average age of like the Sony mascot character? And they're like, oh, he's like 38. It's like, yikes. So you have this, now you have this predicament where, the audience has kind of gotten their full fill of Kratos, right? We don't really need any more Uncharted stories. So no more Nathan Drake. They don't seem to be wanting to do anything with Twisted Metal, so no Sweet Tooth, right? Nothing in that world anytime soon. So I'm like, okay,
It's,
you're running out
it's
of,
crazy,
yeah,
bro.
like you're compressing and compressing and compressing with all your like recognizable properties. So like, what do you do next? Again, Insomniac cannot carry this entire generation by itself. It can't just be Spider-Man until PS6. That's not gonna work. So like, I think about things like that where I'm like, that's even more why I was kind of on the side of like, I'm okay with them kind of aging out Jin in Ghost of Tsushima and introducing a new protagonist because like we don't need this same formula of younger to middle aged man goes on a next 15-year adventure for our next 3 consoles. It's like okay, that obviously has like its time frame of acceptability. Like we don't need any more Cole stories in Infamous, right? It's just certain things I'm like, but I do wonder what the next, I guess, the next quote unquote generation of PlayStation mascot characters looks like. That's the thing I keep coming back to. Like, what's the next?
It's so
Hmm.
funny that you mentioned that, bro, because I kind of feel like, we're also entering the realm of life. Like, yes, they're still considered mascots in a sense, but like, I think the popularity or the wave of them has changed over the
Yes.
years.
Mm-hmm.
And because when you really look at it, like, yes, bro, like, we've kind of like the PS3, PS4 mascots have kind of like, they've aged.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, when we were talking about Astrobot, like, hey, we've reached a pinnacle point, like, where this particular property, we're going to use it as a way to honor PlayStation's legacy in a very humorous way.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's kind of like, okay, where do we really go from here? It's because, you still see the PlayStation ads with the Spider-Man, the Last of Us, things of that nature. I think that's the more mature realm of their mascots. But then that's why I said, man, I don't want no new hardware for a while. I want to see what are y'all really focusing on. And I feel like we're still in a sense of a weird drought of what are you guys doing?
Well, that's actually a really good segue to one of our next topics, which was whether or not Naughty Dog has to put out a game on this console cycle, because there was reports earlier this week that we might not even be seeing Interstellar: The Heretic Prophet until 2027, which is kind of in the window of when the whispers about the next console generation would be around 2027, 2028. So I'm like, if we're not getting this game, this big figurehead game from Naughty Dog for the next 2 years, we've only gotten remasters from you guys this generation and a canceled
I
Factions game.
said what I said, man.
But that's why I said what I said. I'm like,
Roll out.
how do you justify, given what happened during the pandemic, how do you justify saving your heavy hitters for another console? because it's just like, so why did I get the PS5? Like, what was the purpose besides the loading times?
You got the PS5 because now we're gonna make PS5 games and 6.
So then we're right back where we started with the PS5 and PS4.
Yeah, of course. Why not? That's more controllable.
That's tough, bro. But then, like I said, retirement on this end, but
it's tough. I'm not saying
tough.
it's
No,
good.
it's tough, man. It really is. I mean, to be honest, man, and this is where, like, and this is what I was really telling you personally, man. It's backlog season and double A's. I feel like if we shift our attention or perspective on things like that, because most of the time we keep always focusing on flagships, which is fine because that's the main reason why you bought these systems. So that is
with the generation that was raised on flagship games. That's how we came up.
But I have come to a kind of reason bro, we kind of just have to really shift our perspective just a little bit to really find some level of joy. But then, I also do feel like there needs to be some accountability, in terms of we determine things with our dollars, and that's our vote. So yes, and I do feel like, especially where the internet is with forums and all these other things, yes, I know there's a lot of people with brand loyalty, who will buy anything they'll push out. But it's no, bro, I don't want another system anytime soon. I don't.
Yeah. To me, like I said, I don't know. Like you said, we are a different audience, even in and of ourselves, of even for us being fans of our specific consoles, it's to an extent of I like Sony, but I'm also removed enough to know when Sony is doing some foolishness, So for me, I'm just I'm with you. I'm I think we should stretch this console generation out a little bit longer. I understand the thought process, right? I'm 7 years technically is enough time to justify, launching a new console, but COVID happened, and depending on who you ask, COVID is yo, those 2 years don't exist. Yes, you're right. 3, you're right. Those 3 years don't exist. We were all just treading water for 3. Nothing was happening. We're all trying to do the best we could for 3 years. So,
to be honest, I think I didn't get a PS5 till 2 years after COVID.
Well, I didn't get a PS5 till last year. No, the year before. So 3 years for me. Yeah. So, and I could. Now that I've set up my little office, I'm my PS2 stack, my PS3 stack, my PS4 stack, my PS5 stack. Night and day in terms of how they weigh up. But I guess to kind of get back to the topic, do you guys feel like Naughty Dog has enough, I guess, consumer trust, so to speak, if they didn't launch a new IP at all during this entire console cycle?
I feel personally, I wouldn't be nitpicky about it because, like I said, I do, especially being a new IP, I want them to get as much time as possible. Yes, there is a sour spot for people, who are really invested into the Last of Us series. But then, to go back to our last pod conversation, I do feel like they're trying to give us that fix somewhere else through media, in a sense. Now, that's a very interesting take, of course, but I do foresee that happening. I feel like if we're really focused on what other things Sony is bringing out, or even now, because you can see the shift of third party, this is an Xbox.
Yeah, an Xbox is now published on PlayStation.
So it's kind of as a system, and they're definitely going to use this as a marketing pitch, bro. They use oh, but bro, we have games. We release plenty games. Bro, I logged on my system the other night, and I saw Forza and PlayStation next to each other. I was like, bro, this feels so weird, bro.
What a time to be alive.
You got the Forza here, you got the Microsoft Corporation here, and you got the PlayStation 5 here. I was like, bro, this is very interesting territory to be in.
Yeah, in a couple of months, you'll see Indiana Jones with the Microsoft and PS5 logo. And it's just, all roads lead to Master Chief being, he's our Master Chief now. There is no more Xbox Master Chief. But Espen, what about you? You think that Naughty Dog has to put out some type of game during the PS5?
I think Nah, man, they don't have to. Does Sony want that to not happen? I don't think so. But
Yeah.
they don't have to.
Mm.
Personally, they don't have to. They could be quiet, and this is why you have multiple studios, guys. Like why would I leave the burden to one studio to produce a game? That's not how you run a ship. You know. Um, and yeah, if they were to release anything, let them release something small, something fun. Get a team together to release something in the meantime. You know,
But what would that
does
thing
it all?
be? They're not doing any more Last of Us. Uncharted's on the
No,
shelf.
it doesn't have to be something new. Something it could be something new, something double A, something that they could grow into something later, like something that people can have fun with. Hey, is this concept we had? Why don't we just expand upon it and turn it into a game that we all like? I don't see what's wrong with that. I don't see what's wrong with doing having the game that, hey, listen, this game, we're okay with losing this much money, but let's put it out there in the market.
Mm.
I think that's super manageable. I think that's also helps your staff get different experience, and then you bring in that experience into your later games. I think it all works if depending on how you decide to manage it, or how you decide to do it. That's what I would have done. I would have had my team. Hey, you guys are focused on this game. This game's gonna take some time, so here's what we want to do. Small team together. You guys are gonna release this XYZ. It's not gonna be the focus is fun and XYZ. Like, I don't see what's wrong with that. I think every studio should do that. They don't have to just use all resources um to build this one game if it's going to take that long, you know. Do something in between if you have to do something, but I don't think they have to release anything. They've kind of proven themselves. Um would I want as a studio to have more games out there versus this game that we had to keep doing back to back? I would love that. Okay, we don't
Mm.
have to work on this game right away. We can take our time to make it something that we want to make. I think time away from a sequel like that is great for the morale of a company, man. Because now you're not fatigued. You want to get frustrated. Like doing something different. I don't draw the same things every day. I have a different stuff, a variety of things to draw. You don't eat the same thing every day, do you? I mean, you can, but most people it drives crazy. I think you should give it time to do something else and to explore different avenues.
Well, I think for me, and the reason why I want to give you guys both pushback on this is that at the end of the day, it's still a business, right? So even though you've obviously had success, you're a well regarded and well known name within the industry. To me, it's like look at what's happening to other studios that haven't put out a game, right? Monolith Studios hasn't put out anything. I mean, granted, not really their fault, but hasn't put out anything since Shadow of War. That was 2017. And Warner Brothers used that as justification to shut them down. Right now, you look at Rocksteady. Rocksteady's on the brink now, even though they put out a game that they were forced to put out, but their last good game was 2014. So for me, I'm like, if again from the business aspect of things, is like
Mm.
I understand that Last of Us Factions didn't plan out the way we thought it was going to, but Naughty Dog is a huge, huge, huge studio. So to not have anything except your greatest hits remastered for 7 years as a game making company, I don't think that
Yeah,
works to me.
I concur. That's a good point. That's a
Right?
great point.
If your favorite artist doesn't drop an album for the next half a decade, you're gonna be like, man,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
so
yes.
glad Jay-Z took
Yeah,
his time. What? No, you're gonna be like, yo,
got
my
you.
entire life has changed. I'm doing
Yeah,
completely different
okay.
things now.
Got you. Okay. Yes, okay.
Right?
No, that's
No one's forced. If we were getting paid, God willing, to do this pod on a weekly basis, and you're like, you know what? We built up enough cachet to not pod every week. I'm like, all right, bro, you go do your own thing. I'm gonna get back to podding because this is the business we were contracted to do. So to me, I'm like, I understand that games are taking longer than ever, but when you're telling me that Interstellar was at least within pre-production within the year of Last of Us 2 coming out, that means again, you've been working on this, let's say at least since 2021, and we may not get it till 2027. No. Meanwhile, I got in 3 Spider-Mans. Ghost of Tsushima and its sequel from my other companies who are making names for themselves.
Okay. That's good.
Get to work.
That's good.
Is what I would say.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
You know, so that's that. I mean, if you guys have any pushback to my pushback, I'm open to hear it. But that's just my mindset.
Nah, that's actually
No, those are definite facts. Especially like how you said, as a game making company, it is very appalling. I would say it's just, I guess, or I can only speak from where I am personally in life, bro. I'm enjoying backlog season. I'm enjoying it. So I kind of feel like that holds my attention until something else comes. And then, if I'm around that time and if I'm still interested, I'll check it out. If not, I'll speak with my vote.
Mm-hmm. Understandable. And I mean, again, that's just how I look at it. It's not even like a knock at Naughty Dog specifically. It's anybody. I'm just like, I mean, look how Tim reacted when Game Freak took a year off from Pokemon. A year. It took a year off, and this man is furious. So that's what I'm saying. I'm like, this is the business. No one's forcing you to this business. You guys chose to make this company. You're definitely reaping the benefits monetary wise and influence wise. Get to work. Get to it. Stop making these cinematic universes and give me a game. This is what I bought you for.
That goes back to what I said, man. I do feel like the industry, it's as a whole, I think they need to explore AA just for a bit. Because, bro, like the AAA is taking too long.
Yeah, it's got to the point where it's ridiculous now. Like it's half the console cycle for a first party title of anything is like, what are we doing? What's even happening right now?
Because remember what I told you, bro. Like even in terms of like fighters, like flagship fighters, like we only in the next couple of months we're only getting 2, and that's it. We're getting Fatal Fury, and then we're also getting the second Capcom Fighting Collection, and after that it's sound the crickets.
Season pass is number 2, season pass number 5, season pass number.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, to me, I understand that there's a lot of changes that have to be made to have a more sustainable market for the business. I just think that's the thing of like, we're getting more games and a more faster turnaround than ever before, cumulatively speaking, right? So like overall, even though we're not getting as many first party titles as we probably would like, there's enough third party companies putting out enough games. If you really wanted to, you could technically play a new game that will probably catch your interest every month. It's just when these things that are supposed to lead the console that you invested in aren't dropping anything. Like when Sony's like, yo, we credit most of our hardware sales last year to Black Myth Wukong's, like, that's not good. That's not good. That's not a good thing. You shouldn't be like applauding yourselves for a third party holding all down last year. And that's what's going to happen this year. Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to drop. Everyone's going to buy it on PS5. And Sony's going to be like, we did it, guys. We won.
It's not even just third party, bro. Like you're getting hand-me-downs from another competitor.
Yeah.
So it's like they about to rub that, bro. I could see that Forza commercial coming so soon. I see it coming, bro. Like it's when I tell you, when I saw that, bro, I was like, yo, this is very weird territory.
Yeah. We lived the life, haven't we? Like you just start.
This is very, very weird territory, but I mean, we'll definitely see, man. I mean, it's when you lay it out as a schematic, it's very interesting. Like, wow, like yeah, well, that's all we've gotten from them. And then we complain about other people too. Like, of course, like the notorious one is Capcom. But it's like, at least Capcom tried to innovate in certain areas to make it feel like a brand new experience. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see where our money is going.
Yeah. I mean, again, hardware sales wise, the PS5 is on track to outsell the PS4. I think it's only maybe 2%, 2 to 5% less in sales than the PS4 was at this point in the life cycle. So it's not that the consoles aren't being sold. I don't think the Pro, well, we don't know how they're counting the Pro. I don't think the Pro is doing the numbers that they still want it to do. But I would imagine that, again, given Xbox kind of taking their foot off the gas when it comes to hardware, PS5 is going to like just take that baton and just start lapping at this point.
Yeah, especially when they start to do more crossplay with PC.
Boy, especially if they do it day in, day out, like day one, man, clean up.
Yeah.
So I guess before we get to our next aspect of big news, just a couple of small hits. Tim, you mentioned something that I completely forgot to write down, even though it was, I think, big enough news. What do you feel about Ronaldo coming to Fatal Fury? One of the best soccer players in the world being in your fighting game.
What are we doing?
It was weird. It was very weird. Like, it was stylish. It was a very stylish trailer.
Yeah, definitely.
It was a very stylish trailer. It was just very weird to me, bro. And I feel like we've entered a very interesting space when it comes to guest characters now, that I kind of feel like we need to kind of get a little bit back to reality.
Yeah.
Like I said, bro, like after we won't say the name anymore, but I'm kind of over guest characters for a good little minute, man. And honestly, I just would like fighting games to take their main roster seriously.
But see, that's the thing. And then, Dora, I would definitely want to get your opinion on it. But like we were saying in the chat, I'm like, I just don't see the angle of this. That's more so than anything else. More so than him being in the game. It's like he's not there as a skin or a stage, which made sense.
Maybe it's something like how, remember with Tekken Tag 2, we got a Snoop Dogg stage. Maybe he's a fan.
But is he? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, we don't. I don't know any context to why this partnership made sense to them.
I don't know.
Go ahead, Esran, give me a take.
I'm like, he don't even look. It's just Ronaldo. It's not even like they didn't even
turn him into Ronaldo Ryu.
Turn him into like do something like that. Give us. And it's different, like how Tekken did it with the French guy from the Ocean's 11 and the Matrix. Well, he's not in the Matrix, but the Ocean's 11 villain from part 2, Vincent, the actual actor. I'm like, yo, they let you know he was voicing the character. That's cool. Like, okay, why don't you do that with this? And just a lot of things that to me were just like, I was like, yo, he's just Ronaldo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's not even like with Tekken 7 with Negan, where like at least we know who it's the actor, but it's
Negan. But he's Negan. Like
this is just the literal soccer player.
Give Ronaldo a persona or something, man. Y'all just
Shaolin soccer
homie
style.
In the game. You know what I'm saying? Y'all just put homie in the game, and it's just like with the jersey on. I'm like, y'all could take some cues from Capcom. They got a character that plays soccer from Rifle School. Why ain't y'all do something like that? Like, and it's just, I'm like, okay. I'm like, nah, fam, this is not it. I mean, I love Ronaldo.
Yeah, this is not enough to him at all.
Nothing to him. But it's just like, what is SNK doing? Like, like who's this for?
Honestly, maybe it was just a gamble to see, like, the FIFA players, if they would like to like dive into this world.
That's not how it works. That's not how it works. That's not how it works.
I don't know. Like, honestly, I'm just as confused as everybody. I understood the Street Fighter cameos. I understood those, but this, and that's what I'm saying, bro. We've entered some very weird territory.
Where does that happen to where, oh man, Negan's in the game, so I guess I'm gonna watch The Walking Dead if I'm a Tekken fan. Like, nah, like that's just. If it worked, then a lot of y'all businesses would be booming, but it doesn't boom. So, like, what are you doing? Business.
Honestly, sometimes maybe it's the game director, because sometimes they put stuff in there because they like the thing personally.
And it's like
the best soccer player in the world. That wasn't a cheap budget. Like, this is not like Ed Boon recognizing 20 years of patience of having what's his name voice Johnny, the actor
Jean-Claude.
Like, that to me made sense, and he's not even in the game. It's his depiction of Johnny Cage in the game. I'm like, this has been a long time coming. Anyone who knows anything about Mortal Kombat knows that this was 20 years in the making. Ed Boon deserves this bucket list.
Yeah,
the Ronaldo thing. I'm like, fam, At least John Claude can fight. Like, what is this?
Actually can fight, you know?
Yeah. I just don't get it. And like it just felt like the old man waving his fist at a cloud moment for me of like Fortnite has ruined everything. Nothing is sacred anymore. Like, guest characters hold no weight. None of it matters anymore.
And like I mean, I'll even go a step further. I wasn't a big fan of Negan being in Tekken. I'm like, y'all wasted a slot on this man in Tekken?
Fam, you preaching right
what,
now.
like, why did you think this would work? So you went from Akuma.
No, Negan has some great combos, bro.
No, that's great. That's great. You know, I'm not gonna play Shaq Fu because of Shaq.
No, honestly, but when you really look at it, Negan should have been Miguel. Like Negan's fighting style should have been Miguel.
That should have always been Miguel.
Yeah. You took a regular guy with nails on a baseball bat and some chainmail on a baseball bat and made him a Tekken fighting game character at that.
And you gonna go up against Paul Phoenix,
right?
Who beat Kazuya,
who was able to defeat a bear twice, a grizzly bear that
knows the Mishima fighting style because it watched Mishima. Nah, come on, bro.
Listen, bro. Listen, like I said, we've entered some weird territories now, and I think the next guest character that on the SNK side, I think is Lucy from Cyberpunk,
which is still we'll see, right? I'm not sure how that's going to happen.
How does she even fight? Because I was like, what does she even do in the anime that word?
Right, she's a hacker
fighting, but we'll see. Like I said, bro, we've entered some weird territory, and once they get this out of the system,
and you know what? I'm not mad at the anime's crossover hopping into these games. I'm not mad at it. Like, I'm not mad I wouldn't be mad if Ichigo showed up in if he showed up in an SNK, I'm not Guilty Gear game. I wouldn't be mad, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be mad. Do I want it? Does it bother me enough for me to be like, oh, it doesn't. It truly doesn't.
That's fair, because when they put Lars in Ultimate Ninja Storm 2, I'm like, this is random, but I'm not mad at it. He actually had a higher moveset.
It was how they did it.
But I think that's what Dory's saying is the execution.
Yeah,
like,
it's how you do it, you know? And if this Ichigo looks significantly a little different, like Guilty Gear-esque inspired, then hey, why should I be mad? If they Guilty Gear to fight them, Guilty Geared Ichigo is perfect, you know? So for me, it's just they gotta make sense. Like, I'm not trying to play as 11 in Mortal Kombat.
Right. No, you're right.
You
you're
know,
right.
I'm not trying to play as an 11.
I don't want to see my TV show characters and my sports celebrities. Like, they put LeBron James in multiverses, and I'm like, I guess Space Jam 2, whatever. But even that, I was like, no.
Yeah, and it's like, and then like y'all pick LeBron over the classic Michael Jordan, which would have made more sense. But okay,
more money,
and, yeah. But you know, yeah. So I'm just like, and then that Space Jams wasn't it. It's still not better than the first Space Jam. So anyway,
not even close.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no, man, what are you doing? The guest characters, like, man, Tim put me in the fields, man.
Bro, yeah, I was gonna say Tip. It was like the thing that was ironic was like Tim put that the same day this got announced, which was like, look at God, look at God's timing. Tim put the Remember Soul Calibur 2 and where you were when the posters dropped of these guest characters.
When a guest character meant something. Y'all remember those commercials? When my favorite one was I liked all of them, to be honest with you, but my favorite one was the one where he pops open the trunk. Hey man, I got a weapon out here for you, and then you just see a fist punch the axe, and you're like, oh, hey, Hachi Mishima joins Soul Calibur only on the PlayStation.
Yup.
Because I remember that was prime competition, bro, to see whose guest character was better. But then, you know, here comes Soul Calibur 4.
All of them was fire.
Here comes Soul Calibur 4 years later, and I was like, oh, that was the first sign of it. Yo, where did we go with this?
It was a bit of a reach. was a bit of, but compared to where we are now, in hindsight, I'm
No,
not.
that was the sign, bro.
No,
That was
I
the
don't think
sign.
so.
Where in the world do you think a blade hotter than the sun? Not going. Soul Edge who?
Darth Vader
Come
versus
on,
Killick.
dog.
Yes.
This the same and y'all put Star Killer in the game, grabbing entire ships from space. That
Nightmare
was a
versus
mission.
Yoda. Give it to me.
That was a mission, dog.
Yeah, bro. Like that's when they was taking the Force Unleashed a little bit too seriously back then.
And he grabbing triangles outside of space.
Mm.
You feel me? And crash. Nah, man.
Well, I mean, we're not here to argue whether every guest character works. Not every guest character idea worked. I'm just saying, like, compared to where we're at now, where it's like at least it was a blade against a blade. At the very least, we got something.
Fam.
Now it's just
my goodness.
take my Shaolin soccer style Ronaldo finishing move.
Man.
The wet willies at Miami Beach kick.
And you know, it just goes back to what you guys, both guys have mentioned before. It's like they're putting all this effort into something that's not going to be here the next installment.
Like, these people don't play FIFA. Hey, let's get FIFA games playing. You know, this fighting game. That's not how it works.
Right. And
if they wanted to play it, they'd play it.
Then you give them a soccer ball style that like none of your other characters can incorporate. So you've used all these assets that you can't even really like remix MK style because who else uses a ball to fight? We'll see, right? Maybe we're wrong. Right? Maybe it drops and it does Noctis numbers for the good for King of Fighters. I just don't see it. I don't see how. And then another real quick topic before we get to the next section of the big news. Grummz getting ratioed on Twitter or on X. Man. So for those who don't know, our level of dislike for the woke gaming community differs. I'm a little bit more annoyed with them. Tim, I think, is a little bit more indifferent. Jory sees more of their points than all of us. But Grummz in particular, we've had him as a topic on this podcast before for some of his takes. And for those who don't know, during Assassin's Creed Shadows rollout, the community manager for the page got into a little back and forth with Elon Musk very briefly. And threw some shots his way. So Grummz, who I guess wanted to shield Elon from online discourse, threw an article to the Assassin's Creed manager's way about the game. And the manager or the community manager's response was, "Hey, at least our game is out." And the internet did the rest. So my quick question to y'all is like, do you guys think this changes anything? Do the grifters at any point get held accountable for the loopholes and holes in their rhetoric at this point? Or is it just, we all laughed and now it's back to business as usual?
I think it's a mixture of both. I think it's a mixture of both because, you know, humankind has proven, why can't we do all? Like, I do feel like, you know, in spite of all the delays that this game went through, I think the overall point was, let's release it before a certain extra product comes out months in advance. Because first of all, we have no release date for that in point blank period. But it's just, I knew people was going to support it. You know, Japan is definitely something that, you know, a lot of people favor in terms of history and lore. And, you know, it's a simple fact of the matter is, you know, due to all the level of controversy. And then that's the crazy thing about it, bro. The internet loves controversy. It was going to sell because of that alone. Because of that alone. People, like I said, people are going to buy it just to compare it to Sony's particular Japanese game.
And that's literally what happened. We saw streamers do that. Literally.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see how this plays compared to Ghost.
But then, that's the thing about it. That's what I said, bro. But once that person puts their credit card and clicks submit and clear, the company's already won, to be honest.
Reasons why it don't matter.
Do what you want with the product, because at this point, you're giving them free promo. You're giving them free promo every time you upload it to your YouTube, your Twitch. You are spreading this property, and that's what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do foresee this as a particular Assassin's Creed that this is them testing the waters to see where they want to go with this series, especially since they dropped the main storyline. Okay, we realized I think they've started to really realize the fatigue of their series, all their multiple series. So now this one, I think they might treat it like how they did on, what was the one when they went to Egypt, Origins. I think they're going to treat this a lot like Origins, give it like multiple story updates, drop a complete package for the people who were super late, and call it a day. And then just ratio up the numbers in the end. Because I do feel like it was just trying, I think this product was just them trying to see, like, do we still got it? Because like I said, bro, the one before it was a ghost.
Yeah.
It came and gone.
Mm-hmm.
It came and gone. So, and like I said, Japanese mythology and Chinese mythology is a real good, sector as of now. Because, they did Valhalla when Norse mythology was in. So now, and of course, that game came out with another Sony property that was in that same realm.
That's what Jory said last pod. He's like, y'all did this, but did you do it to the degree that they did it? Oh, you didn't.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll definitely see, man. Like, even sometimes some people might compare this to Rise of the Ronin, just to compare.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's what it is. And I do feel like maybe this is, especially from a lot of the streamers that I personally watch, a lot of people are just showing it like, yeah, they enjoy it, man. They enjoy the atmosphere. They enjoy the double gameplay from two different people. Because I'll admit, bro, Assassin's Creed during that European era was very rough. Very, very rough. And it kind of sounds like somebody else that we know when they went to Europe. But that's exactly where they are. And and I get it, bro. The internet, they try to fuel as much hate. Everybody's fighting for clicks.
Yes,
everybody's fighting for clicks right now because they feel like that's how they build a brand. But then, at the end of the day, bro, substance speaks for itself. And then, like how, Ubisoft replied, at least our game is out.
Yeah, that to me, oh man, warmed my heart. Warmed the cold chamber of my heart. A little bit of like, yes, there we go. That's Frank. Any quick thoughts on the online ratio in the community? Are the grifters on life support?
I mean, I don't pay that guy no mind, man. It's like it gets to the point to it's like, okay, and I try to point this out to the people that may be on the reserve side, the conservative side. It's just like, okay, get your point across, but don't weaponize. Like, try to make sure your language is distinct and not like, because at the same, now it gets drowned by the people who do weaponize your points. So you wind up, and if you take the approach of, well, I don't care, then you're already grouped with them, because that's exactly all you have to do is not be mindful. If I don't care XYZ. Oh, okay, that's how it starts. You just entered yourself into the club. No. And so now you can't redact or take a position. You can turn into that YouTuber that just says, that has his that other crazy YouTuber, Fuentes, whatever his name is. I'm sure you know of him.
I think I do.
A super KKK YouTuber that just okay, well, yeah. Anyway, but like you just wind up falling into that language, and then okay, well, I don't care what you think about me. So then, when somebody labels you such a thing, that's exactly, you fall into that. They're not wrong for grouping you there.
Yeah.
If I say I don't care, then about certain things, and I say, oh, don't call me woke, but I'm saying language that's synonymous with the woke people that you don't like, then how can I really differentiate myself? You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So if I'm
Hmm.
using the same language as them, or I'm having the same level of sentiment as them. Like I want to speak in a clear, concise way. I just don't pay attention to them anymore because now you're no longer you no longer have the placement in which where I feel like I really care what anything you have to say. Now it's just okay. This is obviously just click. Like
Yeah,
you're just hating the
you're
hate.
literally rage baiting at this point.
You're just hating
There's
the
no
hate.
thought. There's no the critique aspects have left. The here's another way of looking at it has left. Like you were just inciting anger. So you, like
Yeah,
Tim
and
said, so you can get those
yeah,
clicks
you
up.
just want to get like a whole bunch of you want to get a whole bunch of crowds behind you with pitchforks and
Hmm.
yeah, and now it's just mindless. It's just mindless. Like, for me, no, I'm just saying, like, you just want to like, if I am not a said person, I want to make sure my language is very distinct. If I really don't hold to those things, and I don't want to be grouped with certain people that are racist. You know what I'm saying? If I'm that guy, I want to make sure I want to get my point across in a manner to where you can't. Like, no, he just really feels this way, and okay,
Yeah.
I respect it.
Mm.
That's how I think you should go about these things. Does everybody do it? Most people don't care. They want to express how they feel. Like that's not smart.
Yeah.
That's not what intelligent people do.
Hmm.
But personally, man, I just if some people wanted the game to fail, I was willing to give it a chance to see because now I'm really convinced you hate the game because now you hate the game because this is just a black guy there. But I'm like, yo, I'm like, how is this even a thing when you had Yasuke in like 7 games for what 3, 4, 5 generations past?
Hmm.
He's in Neo, Obsidian Samurai. And when did Neo drop the first Neo? He's in Neo. He's again in Neo 2. He's in a manga called Tenkaichi, where
Hmm.
you see Yasuke on the cover. He was in the not Dragon Warriors game, Samurai Warriors game recently.
Mm.
It's not, it's just now because this is getting mainstream. I guess you know how many people from the other side play Assassin's Creed and are fans. But this is a norm. I never took it as they're invading in the culture. And then some of these Japanese, I don't know, I don't even know if that's actually what he's saying, but they're showing video of Japanese council people, uh, uh, people of a Japanese what government console like
Yeah. They're
C-SPAN
trying to.
having
Yeah.
an argument
Hmm.
about this is disrespect to Japanese culture. I'm like, wait, but y'all obviously have documents on William. That's where the Last Samurai was inspired, and you have all, XYZ documents on Yasuke. Now y'all want to test to see if Yasuke is actually real or not. And now, but like y'all just put him in 17 other games before that,
All with the same type of themes, setting.
all with the
Like,
same type of themes. So now, if Roden Warriors makes a comeback, where was this guy? Where was this African dude? Why is he one up in the armor? Wanted to find a true warrior.
hmm. And he was
And so
compelled
it
to
found,
battle.
and it went to Zimbabwe and found them. Like, what y'all, you can't get mad. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get mad. The armor found them, though. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So now if like you can't do anything with a black character, but when that's so Raven, nobody batted an eye. Nobody, you know, like we had characters where they were of different color, like Family Matters, all black cast.
Hmm.
Why? What's wrong with that? Not like what's going on now to where everybody just tripping.
I don't know.
It's like pay it. I understand. I don't want certain characters to be integrated into my thing. Like to me, it's an insult, right? Keep the characters, make something new. That's how I feel about it. I don't. But for Captain America to be black, I'm going. I know I'm all over the place. That makes sense storyline. That's his best friend.
Hmm.
He's Falcon. XYZ. I don't got a problem with it. It makes sense. It makes sense. That's his best friend.
I feel like a lot of people are also really not understand, especially as a person who studies history. They're not understanding. They're not embracing the history. Like, yes, there's racism across the world. Like, yes, when it comes from a point where they're exploiting your culture, like, oh, yes, they want to integrate. But when it's the other way around, they want the separation.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And that's what I said, bro. Like, when it comes to, like, cultural properties, I am a firm believer it needs to be built up by the people and for the people. And that's for every culture.
Mm-hmm.
Do what you need to do. Do what you need to do, because you, at the end of the day, you are of this, and because I value bloodline over everything.
Mm-hmm.
So this is of you. This is part of you,
Mm-hmm.
in a sense. So, like, it's very delicate territory that you're entering. And, like, yes, we've seen multiple interpretations of Yasuke throughout the years. Like, and then that's the thing about Assassin's Creed is, like, bro, Assassin's Creed has never been the one where it's like truly one for one with history.
Ever.
So it's like never. No, it's
Yeah,
fiction.
you fighting Imhotep in the first one with the phantasm sphere of the Illuminati and the
Yeah,
Knight
bro, like
Templars.
it's
I'm
it's
like,
it's fiction, bro. It's fiction with some form of historical elements, bro. Like, it's the same thing as God of War, bro. Like, yes, who Zeus is, who Hermes is, but of course, here's the character,
Mm-hmm.
and you just play the game, bro. Just play the game,
and it's
like.
too late. The voice actor for Kratos is black. Don't refute that now.
They'll find a way.
You know what I'm saying? So y'all not gonna beat that performance, man. Y'all need bass now.
Mm-hmm. Bro,
No,
I'm telling you,
that's the best no ever.
it's gotten to a point where, like I said, even the points that were somewhat valid have now started to slip away. In my opinion, I think they've lost like the whole like, oh, we don't need unnecessary race swapping. I'm like, okay, I can understand that. Now it's just kind of like you just don't like him because he's, like you said, because he's black. You just
And
don't
so
like him.
now,
There's no
so
other reason.
now they're like, okay, now, okay. For example, I didn't like the choice that they did with Yasuke's the option. I just don't understand the love options within Assassin's Creed. Like, just tell the story. Period. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's a created character, then have at it. It, you know. And it's like for me, I'm like, yo, bro, the only black man like in Japan, how likely is that to take place? You know what I'm saying? So, and it's just I just that's when you can be like, oh my gosh, can we get a dub? A legit dub? You know what I'm saying? A legit W. And for me, yeah, that's how I felt about it. Did I want it to do good? Yeah, but if the gameplay is repetitive, then what more can you do? Assassin's Creed did not do anything to where we're wowed. And knowing that Ghost of Tsushima's out,
Right.
that world, like Ghost of Tsushima's world is way more intense. And it's like, how does this happen? You guys should have way more money than this studio.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's how I feel about it in his opinion. And these things now, I don't even care to give my energy to it unless it really upsets me. You know, we see a whole bunch of things, and I know I'm going off topic a little, but like a lot of the characters done in your favorite animes, like their transformations. Even if I say Bleach, like I ain't like those transformations. I'm like, dog, a fly. You
Right.
feel me? So like, bruh, an elephant or whatever, a centipede man. I'm like,
Yeah.
so we can't be. That's just nah. You feel me?
Or
Just
even the
nah.
one in Spotter where he sprouts eyes all over his body, and now he's in like this like ballerina style thing. It's just like, this is the design you gave him. He couldn't have a design like Grimjaw. He had to look like
Eh,
this. Okay, I guess.
So you couldn't. You went with the Jaguar, so you couldn't give us the lion, and we have what's the lion in the Congo name? The Burmese lion. Like that's a real name. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
I don't know if that's from Greek, but there's an actual lion. No, that's the one in Greek mythology is the Nemean lion, but there's actually a forgot the name of the lion in in the Congos. But you couldn't do any of that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Yeah, that's how I feel, man.
yeah.
I'm just it's up to us, man. Like just grab the Infinity Gauntlet, man, and say, I'll do it myself. Who else is gonna do it? Who else is gonna represent you better than you on your resume?
It's true.
And through that,
Mm,
you, I mean, no, I understand, but no, they don't have to. You get what I'm saying? Like they don't have to, man. If I don't go out of my way to draw a line to just draw an Asian person. I draw the features that I feel like makes them cool.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? When you're drawing a person from another culture, that's just me. Does every other artist have to be that responsible? No. That's just the reality.
But
Would
then
I
that could
prefer?
also come from their particular perspective on
That's
the
Right.
true.
That's
person
what I'm gonna
that's
say. I was
doing.
like,
So
there is a bit of
no,
responsibility
no.
there.
I know that there is, but I'm saying like we can't. You know what I'm saying? You can't force, just like you can't force people to like you. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but that goes back to one thing that Tim said like a couple pods ago, where it's like, if that's the case, then just don't put me in the game. Or put me in the
Yeah,
property.
no,
If
yeah,
this is what you're gonna
I mean,
do,
do it like
just don't.
Pokemon. Like Pokemon didn't
Just
have colored folks until like,
yeah.
which to me is outrageous. I'm like,
Mm.
it gets to a point to where can I ask a question? Like, yo, like you traveling in this entire planet, you have every other person, but
Like, to be honest, I think when it came to Pokemon, they didn't even allow you to customize the skin of your character to, I believe, Gen 6 when you went, no, Gen 7 when you went to Hawaii, I believe.
Oh, how convenient. Oh, that's when it's like, yeah, spread a little brown on them. Put a little, Maui Wowie on them, like that's crazy.
yeah, that's my thing, man. That's how I feel about it. Because it's just like, um, I mean, yeah, you just can't really force anybody to represent you. And I'm
mm,
tired of asking, hey, can you draw me like, nah, I'm not inspired by your kind. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, okay, all right,
yeah.
fine,
I don't know.
fine.
I don't know what the tipping point will be like. I know, of course, like we've gotten past the point of blindly trusting in the corporations. Clearly, that they've used and abused that power for way too long, which is how we got to this point in the first place. But now, like
Yeah,
most things in society nowadays, I think we've leaned a little bit too far to the other side. Like we've kind of lost the intent.
there's extremes on both sides that don't
Yeah.
make any sense to where people are too lazy to think. Hating is easier.
Yeah.
Let me do that.
And critical thinking.
Like,
And
yeah, and then critical thinking.
nuance.
Yeah, just like man, I just feel like like hating's easier. I'm like,
Right.
bro, you know how quick you're killing yourself, man.
Right.
That is the quickest emotion to like
Right.
tarnish
Let's
yourselves.
stress ourselves out of a lifespan. That'll get it done. But our last big gaming news topic for the night, Nintendo came through with a word and dropped a Nintendo Direct. A Nintendo Direct a week before they are doing their Direct that's solely focused on the Switch 2. And of course, I think I speak for all of us when our thoughts were like, okay, if you're about to announce your new console, why are you announcing more Switch 1 games? I don't understand the thought process here. Like, why not just.
Cause I want to squeeze every penny
But
out
none
the
of those games
sponge,
they announced
brother.
were coming out before the Switch 2 launches. None of them. They all like have holiday fall release schedules.
So then now, let us ask the second question. Is it really for the Switch?
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, it's not like
Or
when
yes.
they showed the new Metroid, they were like, there was no like asterisk of saying footage being captured on the Switch 2.
Hey, it's going to the Switch too, my boys.
Oh, of course. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
It's gonna be on both of them because to be honest, bro, I I'm low key thinking that the Switch 2 in terms of hardware advancement, it's not that much. Because if they're treading this slowly, like how you just
They're
said,
gonna
and
pay
why
for
are
it.
you still talking about Switch
They're
1
gonna pay
games,
for it.
especially for this upcoming holiday season? I don't think the difference is that much.
but do you think, Tim, that that's something they could afford to risk at this
Honestly,
point?
bro, Nintendo's a very weird person, bro. They've skated by for years of like how you just said, in relation to this person that we're going to talk about soon, the bare minimum. The
Like,
bare minimum.
but I think, I mean, and granted, the casual people, right? The parents that are going to buy it for the kids, it's their generation's version of a very expensive Game Boy. It's one of those things where I'm like, at a certain point, there becomes like the new bare minimum, if that makes sense. Like, so look at TVs. You can't not get a 1080p TV anymore. There was a time where you could choose between a 720 and a 1080. Now it's like you might choose between a 1080 and a 4K and everything that comes from there, but you're not going to not get a 1080p TV. And I feel like you said, because Nintendo has skated by when the Switch come out, 2016, 17? Somewhere around there? Okay, so more than 5 years ago, let's just say. More than 7 years ago.
Years ago.
Yeah, right?
Years
like,
ago, brother.
It's one of those things where I'm like, that whole thing of like, oh, well, Nintendo. I'm like, I don't think that gets it done anymore. Not when you have people who are putting out competent competitors to your hardware. And it's like the people that really want to play your game are really going to find a way to play your game, in their own means. So it's like, to me, I'm not saying you got to keep up with a ROG Ally or keep up with a Steam Deck. But like you're saying, Tim, it's like, if the jump is, well, now we're getting 1080p and 60 frames per second. It's like, my brother in gaming, it's 2025.
2025.
There's a new way we have to just do these things now. This is not, you got to upscale to 4K or something. I need something.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they do that, they're going to listen, man, people are going to spend the money on these mini PCs. My homie's calling me, telling me, hey, I'm playing Monster Hunter right now at customized frame rates on a handheld. All I got to do is plug it into the wall. Like it's faster frame rates than you get on an Xbox. Like, what are you doing if you don't do that? You can't. And then I can just literally, I'm on a PC. This is the very technology you use to make your games. I'm gonna emulate.
I was trying to hint at that without actually saying it, but yeah, I'm gonna find a way to play
I'm
this
gonna
if I
clone
really
jutsu.
want to.
I'm gonna clone jutsu.
Mm.
You're not gonna stop 10 billion people at the same time, can you, Nintendo? You don't got enough money for that.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
One of our topics, maybe they do. That offshore account looking crazy.
Yeah, but
no, but yeah, I just like that. But that's part of our topic, right? Like, I'm like, can a Nintendo Switch 2 drop? Not supporting 4K anyway. Not supporting not offering an OLED option. Not offering some of the modern like just expectations from a console these days. Again, no one's saying that Nintendo needs to start competing with Xbox and Sony.
The thing, bro. I kind of feel like most people have never really had these expectations with Nintendo before. Because I even it's not until like I wouldn't say as of now, but like I would say in recent years, and I would say like probably over 2 to 3 years, where there's been a lot more ports to the Switch.
Yes.
Where like now you're comparing like graphics from all three. And I feel like it's not until like as of now that a lot of people are really comparing like, well, what can the Switch or the potential Switch 2 really do? Because to be honest, I've always just felt like Nintendo got by just being that secondary person, like, hey, yeah, we like, you like these nostalgic titles, with a little mix of that every once in a while, like the break away from your real home-focused console or PC.
Yes.
And I feel like they've skated that way for many years. And I feel like maybe that is their role in the ecosystem. Because it kind of goes back to what we were saying about how it kind of feels like Xbox is being fizzled out and we're going back to the old ages. To be honest, maybe that's how it always has been when you really look at it in hindsight. Like, I mean, yes, we've seen Nintendo pump some heavy hitters, but in terms of like, yes, I think the thing that we loved about them titles was the gameplay was so enriching. Like how we said, like, scale back to AA. And I feel like that's where Nintendo solely thrived. They were AA games. Excuse me. Sorry. Interactive gameplay, and we loved them for it. But when it came to that, I guess when the PS3 and the PS4 cycles was really brewing, that's where our mind shifted. Like, it needs to be this blockbuster experience, or it has to have all these specs. Now, I feel like, yes, there's room for both.
Yeah.
I do not feel like they're going to take it seriously.
But see, I think that's the thing, or like I'm in agreement with you on that. Like, I do think there is room for both, right? Like you said, like I'm not expecting. I would never trick myself into thinking that Nintendo's ever going to legit try to go 1-for-1 with Sony and Microsoft. I don't even necessarily want that from them. My whole issue is when it's just like when I'm playing your first party Nintendo games and I'm doing a combo with Bayonetta and it drops from 30 frames to 10 for your first party game. I'm like, all right. Again,
which they
I
shouldn't
just
have
needed
had
to,
in the first place.
huh?
Which they shouldn't have had in the first place.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. I'm like, the memes of the Mortal Kombat 1 Switch game are funny until they're not. You know what I'm saying? It's just like at this point, I'm like, why did you even waste your time and resources? Huh?
Did you see Hogwarts Legacy on the Switch?
No, I didn't.
Bro.
That's what I'm like. It's one of those things where I'm like, what? Why are you even wasting the developer's time, your time, and our time with this? That like again, we're not looking for a 1-for-1, but this is a joke. This is literally a joke. This is a meme that you're trying to charge me full price for. Like, I can take less frames. I could take maybe some pixels here and there, but this is barely running. And charge me full price. I can't even play Kingdom Hearts as is on a Switch. Kingdom Hearts.
You
can only buy the cloud version. You know, it's just like at some point it's like, yo, again, I'm not saying they need to check every box, but it's just certain things of like, can we get an OLED screen? Can we get upscaling? Can we get a solid 30? Can we at least commit to a solid 30 frames per second, please? In Nintendo.
Yeah, they if they don't do like it's you can't get away with it anymore. I really feel that, and they have to be aware of that because now you have these consoles that are like, yo, the Steam Deck you can buy at 300, starting off at 350. The Steam Deck.
Mm-hmm.
If you choose to get the extra stuff, you can, but at 350, the Steam Deck. Why? I'm at school. The kid is looking at you. Oh man. Oh, I got Mario here.
Mm-hmm.
How you get Mario? Emulate. It's a PC, bro. I have more freedom. The kids are gonna keep smacking you with that. I have more freedom because they heard an adult say it.
Mm-hmm.
I have more freedom. I have more freedom. And it's true. He can customize his menu. He has access to his games on this. And then now, if this deal with Xbox is actually true, these rumors where they're gonna have a dual console where it's the Xbox Marketplace and Steam Deck Marketplace all in one system.
Mm-hmm.
You can forget. You can forget me doing XY's getting that thing. You know what I'm saying? Like you could forget the average person not to be like, oh, my son, oh yeah, my son can play my games here. Boom. I got him the Steam Deck 350, the latest version of the Steam Deck. It's even cheaper now because the new one already came out. I think they have to. You just can't afford to anymore. Just like the electric cars. You know what I'm saying? People, hey man, I'd rather do this. This is cool. This is the new thing. This is where the future's going. Gasoline. I want to save the environment.
Right. Or it's like, oh, you can't go cross country in those things. I don't go cross country in my gas car. I just go to my 5 stores around the block. His battery charge will get it done. You know, like that's what I'm saying. Like, I think to tie it all up, I think that Nintendo, to your point, Jory, is like they kind of they've cruised by for just like, again, they've done it better than any other company before them by far. You know, they've let their properties speak for them. I'm not speaking to the quality of their effort. Like a lot of the first party Switch titles that I played have been amazing in terms of concept and creativity. I'm just saying in terms of specs at this point. Like I understand we're not the target audience. You know, the target audience, realistically speaking, for a Switch 2 is Tim's nephew, who doesn't care. Right? Like as long as he gets to play his new Mario game with the Sonic crossover, he is doing backflips in the house, you know, from that perspective. However, I just think from the people who still have the purchasing power currently, we all, at least I would assume, we're buying for longevity of like, what's going to be the thing that I buy for my nephew now, is going to carry him for the next 4 to 5 years. Not just, you know, stutter and freeze 6 months in because it was built with 2013's technology. You know, like that's just kind of where my brain goes to when I can think of the specs aspect of of Nintendo.
And how are you going to deal with the third party that they're just going to avoid your system altogether?
Yeah, it's not even worth it. because people are just
Like
going to
that
stop
Mortal
buying.
Kombat was a laughing stock,
Mhm.
right? Call of Duty's a laughing stock. You can't do Call of Duty,
Mhm.
so it's just I don't know, man. If they do that, I don't think they are, but if they do that, then wow, that's super bold of them to do.
Yeah, I agree. For the direct itself, other than the big one, I think we were all on the same page was on the Marvel property. Was there any other Nintendo game or direct releases that kind of caught your guys' eye at all?
It was only the Marvel game for me. That was it.
Metro Prime was nice. I like to see. I liked what I saw.
Did you like her new armor?
Yeah, it's cool. I'm a fan. Like, get away from the Metroid Priminess, and I'm pretty sure there's more armor in there. It's not just
Oh
that.
yeah,
It's gonna keep upgrading.
definitely. But for default,
Yeah, I liked it. I
mm,
liked it. Um, I think it was. I think it's for this is the parallel universe. If you're not gonna do it in the continuity of the game, why not this one? So
fair enough.
I ain't really have much of a problem with it. I don't. Yeah, because I mean, the one in Dread was kind of wild. She turned into an insect armor
Hmm.
in a way, and that was the most powerful version. If you guys played Dread, um,
Which I didn't.
or
I'm
follow,
not a
yeah,
huge Metroid fan
it's great, man. It's
for
great.
for obvious reasons. Once
Yeah.
they moved it to first person perspective, I said, "Well, signing
Oh
out."
no, play Dread. Dread's not first person. It's the side scroller. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a first person. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you would first person Metroid Prime. It's great, yeah, at the time, but I think give people the options to do too. Like, I
Mhm.
don't want to see myself in a power suit, and then when I gotta go into the morph ball, it goes to third person, and then it goes back in the first person. Like,
Yeah,
I think third person would be perfect for Metroid Prime. But
same.
again, that's just me, right? Why would I want to see my body only on the menu screen? But it makes sense to you, right?
Hmm.
Hey, by all means.
And it makes sense
Until
enough
some,
to enough people, right? Sold enough copies. Y'all don't need my money. Like I always say about certain things.
hey,
Like,
I liked Metroid Prime Another M. I thought the gameplay was amazing, but
mm,
whatever.
okay. So I guess let's talk about Marvel Cosmic Invasion. Is that the name of it?
Yeah, Marvel Cosmic Invasion.
Yes. The next instant classic from Dotemu. Evoking like I said in the group chat, it's not quite exactly what I wanted. I've made it very clear that I would have loved to see either an X-Men arcade remake from them or X-Men 97 inspired beat 'em up from them. But I guess this is like the spiritual successor of that to some degree.
I mean, it's close to it because when you look at Storm's design,
Mm-hmm.
it is.
Even Wolverine's design is from
Um,
the X-Men game. That's the costume he used in the X-Men arcade.
yeah,
So it's like,
yeah, like
yeah.
it's close enough.
Mhm.
It's doable. I really liked it, man. I really liked it. I felt like the villain choice was very spot on to give you some variety to play around with.
Yeah.
Because most of the time we just become so accustomed to like Sentinels,
They're
and other
easy.
things, and I feel like a massive army of like insectoid aliens actually does some great work. Now the roster, I was a bit intrigued about. Of course, you got your staples. You have your Wolverine, you have your Spider-Man, you have an Omega level mutant, of course. Captain America, I was a little okay. And Venom.
Venom was where I was kind of
The
like, huh?
cosmic characters, okay, cool, because you're going to need some cosmic level characters.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm interested to see where did this go in terms, especially a roster, because they do a lot of like miniature expansions, and if this is definitely on something at the scale of Streets of Rage, you might get like I would think I at least need like 4 more characters.
No, they already said that they're on, this is only the initial characters they're announcing. There'll be more characters announced leading up to the holiday release. But I still have that same question also of like that's the the gift and the curse of the Marvel universe is, on one hand you have so many characters to choose from, on the other hand you have so many characters to choose from, right? So it's like, how many characters do you commit to making at a base roster? 10, 12? It's like, that's easily the biggest roster
that of the scale. I would say 10. I mean 10 to 12.
Yeah, cause I'm like, it's easily going to be the biggest roster that Dotemo's ever put out up until this point at launch. Even Streets of Rage 4 didn't have, I think it was 4 characters as well initially.
Yeah, most of them were skins.
Yeah, and then when they brought back the old characters, they're pretty much glorified ports of like their movesets. So I'm like, I'm interested to see, like I was saying in the group chat, I don't know if they're gonna take like a Marvel Rivals approach where it's like, we're gonna make this character cool. You have no idea who Luna Snow is, but you will when we're done with her. You'll know who Jeff the Landtrap is.
I do have my critiques, to be honest with you.
Okay, go ahead.
I wanted it to look like Streets of Rage. I'm okay with no, it doesn't look like Streets of Rage.
Tim, Jory and his 90s comic book aesthetics, bro.
Yeah,
he needs to see like the trapezius over the biceps.
Yeah, Streets of Rage. I wanted it to look like Streets of Rage 4. Yeah, because I thought that would have suited it more. That'd have been
an outline through the
It's a hybrid of that. And
I'm not mad at it, but yeah, like Ninja Turtles, that fit more for Ninja Turtles. If I'm gonna,
it's a hybrid form for me. I do see the middle borderline between both of them, and maybe that's where they felt like it was something a bit more safe. And remember, we said the same thing about Ninja Turtles too. Safe.
Yes.
Like, you can tell when it comes to these design choices, especially when they're experimenting with nostalgia, they want something like in the middle, not too far left, not too far right, but like something that you could really work with.
That's true, because I didn't necessarily love Dotemo's take on the default Ninja Turtle skins, but I didn't dislike it. It was just like, okay,
it wasn't Power Rangers fighting style,
bro. It wasn't that. Man. Every now and then, I'm like, beat 'em ups are back. I'm like, and that's what they do with Power Rangers. Crazy. But yeah, as Frank, you were saying, in terms of
this, like I just didn't want. I didn't think. I wish they did a little bit more with the style, because it was just like, okay, how are you gonna? You show me this cool cut scene, but then now it's just. I mean, yeah, I kind of wish they did more with the art. Like, I just felt that was lazy, because this is the second style that you did in a row that reminisces of that, versus you going to something. It's okay to make it look aesthetically different. That's what I think everybody wants. They want that refresh Marvel Rivals approach.
Yeah,
I think you could have done that with this. Why not do it with this? In my opinion, you would have been okay. We know it's a beat 'em up. I'm buying it anyway. You provided us enough variety with Marvel Rivals. This is you could but this was probably in the making before Marvel Rivals even dropped. So, hey, but now for the next one, if they ever do one, they have that liberty. The roster, I wanted to play as X-Men.
There'll be more X-Men. There'll be more X-Men in this game for sure.
I just wanted to play as X-Men. I think those guys, Nova, who else?
That one girl who I did not recognize at all. But yeah, I know Nova, but that other girl, I'm like, I have no idea who this is.
They could have added those guys later. That would have been a bonus. They should have been bonus characters, in my opinion.
Not necessarily, because it's a cosmic game, bro. You gotta
but yeah, like, okay, even with the villain, it should have just been. I just wanted an X-Men game. I guess, the cosmic that fits for the cosmic game, but I wanted an X-Men themed game. That's what I'm saying. You could have did Mr. Sinister. You could have did Mick Tagger. You know what I'm saying? You had a lot of stuff you could have used, in my opinion, and
but
that would have made.
When it comes to those beat 'em up games, you're naming villains who have a very dark, sinister story. And to be honest, I don't think beat 'em ups have ever really ventured that deep into story of, when you really understand Mr. Sinister, he's a human trafficker.
Mm-hmm.
He mutilates you.
Of children, especially.
Yeah, he mutilates you. Like, bro, he was Orochimaru before Orochimaru.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, of course, in the X-Men game, of course, you would have your classic characters, but then you already know when it comes to X-Men, it's going to be the staple story of Apocalypse, Sentinels.
But
It is.
yeah, it is. But I mean, because like I said before I started this, my whole thing is I want a spiritual successor to X-Men Arcade. That's what I want. So I'm with Jory on this one. I'm just like, what does, especially now that we all know, like it's basically a confirmed fact that Marvel put X-Men kind of on ice until they got the rights back from Fox, the movie rights back from Fox.
Mhm.
What does today's X-Men look like? They've been on pause for so long, in secondary media. Like, what is the today's modern day X-Men lineup look like? Is it the same ones we've been seeing since we were kids? Is it,
I don't think they know, bro. I mean, I feel like the show was a good experiment, of course.
Mhm.
And then, just like how you just said, Joey, we did get our Mr. Sinister storyline with that, and it was very but
Yeah. Yeah, I was just throwing
it's
names
tough
out there,
ground.
man.
It's tough
There's
ground.
like you could have, yeah, but the Cosmic Invasion, then you should have just made Avengers, man. You know,
Nah.
I mean, when I say Avengers, you could have just did the lineup differently. If you were gonna do Cosmic Avengers, you could have had a whole bunch of no names. I feel like with this, you could have added Nova. You could have added Quasar. That's her name, Quasar, the one with the sword.
Oh, okay.
Her name's
Mhm.
Quasar. You could have had Quasar. This would have been perfect. You could have had Authority with Beta Ray Bill, um, Ronan the Accuser. I think that would have been I think that would have been a dope game.
I mean, this was only the first trailer. They might be in it because one
True.
thing you realize when you add one alien, that next one ain't too far. The Kree ain't never too far away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Scrolls,
and I
all
like the
that.
fact that they're going with this guy. Yeah, that was a good choice. Use the villains that's not popular, and then make a game out of it to where they're not popular.
Yeah,
And that's
I
it.
loved what
That's
Insomniac did with the Tinkerer in Spider-Man. Loved it.
Mhm.
Take away this old
Yeah.
man who only makes modifications and make it a futuristic tech super genius girl. Cool. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Like
So,
I said, I think it's one of those things where like, yeah, we'll see. Time will tell. But I think it's that new age Marvel problem. Like, you guys have all these characters to choose from, but you also have all these characters to choose from. And we all know in a beat 'em up, especially from Dotemu, who, to their credit, is going to do all these things in as close to handcrafting sprite style as they can. That means that roster can't be too big. There's no way.
Because you remember you guys, I had the same feelings about the Ninja Turtles game because I've always felt like 2003 style was always the pinnacle of like maturity of Ninja Turtles.
A perfect
But
mixture
then,
of both
you
worlds.
told me and this is where like I kind of feel like this moment is now going back full circle. They wanted something that feels safe. Because the true nature of beat 'em ups is it's not something that's supposed to be too harsh.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they are very light with their design choices, villain choices, even story. Like, remember back in the days where we thought, oh, when you walk into a room, here comes Bebop. Oh yeah, Taters.
Mm-hmm.
That was the highlight of our life. And even as an adult, it still is. It's meant to not be too serious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and certain villains are just too serious. Like, even like, look at the design of Shredder that they chose. They chose Uncle Phil's Shredder.
Yeah.
Because Uncle Phil was the voice actor for that Shredder.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have Utron Shredder, bro. Utron Shredder kills people. So
what's
it's
wrong
like,
with that?
and that's why, like, when you guys were talking, I laughed in my head, like, wow, it's kind of like a full circle moment.
No, it is.
I had the same thoughts about like Ninja Turtles, but then now I do see, as this pattern continues, they are going to choose a very middle ground format. So, I mean, like I said, bro, it works. It works. I definitely want to see how far this roster goes because the only person that really kind of like sticks out to me is Captain America.
Venom was the one for me where I was like, I just don't understand how he's
Venom is fan service, bro. Whenever it comes to Spider-Man, it's always fan service with Venom, bro.
Them boys already had Venom in before they even did production. They said, no, you have to. We have a new movie coming out.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I love Venom, but I'm just like, given the history of the comics, I'm like, there's about 4 to 5 other equally interesting symbiotes.
Because remember, he's an anti-hero now.
Oh, okay. He falls into that gray area of like him and Deadpool, right? They're just right there of like, they can go the other way. Double the profit. We'll start him off as a bad guy, and then make him an ally. And either way, we win. That's man.
Favorite actual version of Deadpool is Wolverine Origins, man. Don't like this the game. I mean the movie with the Hulk. Hulk versus Wolverine.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
you meant the actual live action Wolverine Origins.
No.
I'm like that's a
the
bold take.
Wolverine versus Hulk.
I'm
I
about
should
to
have said
clip
that.
you up
Sorry.
right now.
No, Wolverine versus the Hulk.
S. Rick
yeah.
says.
My fault. No, Wolverine versus the Hulk. Not Cabal. Not Cabal.
Move over.
Baraka. Not Baraka.
Other characters.
Not Baraka. Yeah.
Oh, you know who's going to probably be a character in this? Since you mentioned that, Omega Red. I just see Omega Red coming.
I'm not mad at that. I like Omega Red. He has clean screen carrying attacks. I'll take it. The Carbonadium Smasher he did in the Marvel Capcom games is always cool visually. Sure, give it to me. I'll take it. Yeah, all right. I mean, that's the only thing we had to say about Nintendo Direct. But now, moving into our back to formula.
We need to take the whole line back to formula. Back to formula.
Now, in this particular segment, normally every week we bring you something new that we figured needs to take another look at itself before bringing itself back to market. But this week is something special. We're already going to revisit a previous back to formula because new information has been provided courtesy of S Rank through the forms of an Instagram reel. Now, for those who've been longtime listeners, if you remember from that particular episode or segment, if you're watching us on YouTube, I said that Tim was maybe a little bit too kind to the good folks over at Game Freak when it came to Pokemon Day. I said, Tim, this is unacceptable. This is a 3 on a good day. And he was like, this is like 6.5 type behavior. I said, okay. I mean,
6.5.
Okay. It's a 6 from this company. Okay. All right. Due to this information that we've been provided with S Rank. And again, we are a podcast, and I will say that in this particular thing, I didn't necessarily vet my sources on this. It kind of seemed on the money, literally. But it turns out that Pokemon as a franchise is a multi-billion-dollar company more than a few times over, we'll say. They're up there. They're lapping Disney in the billions, is what we'll say. And that sparked a interesting conversation in the group chat. Tim was giving us the pod before the pod, basically, in the group chat. So, Tim, I would like you to take us away with this latest, release of a new trailer, Pokemon ZA, and the leaks that have been recently confirmed when it comes to what we're getting content-wise. Why is Pokemon need to be taken back to formula again?
Honestly, I really don't take, like, on a regular day, I don't take rumors seriously, but like these are from very heavily influenced, like, people who are deeply involved. So there's been a lot of stuff being revealed that is really adding up. Even with the last trailer that they released, there's kind of like a little synergy going on what's being revealed. So honestly, I'm not really looking forward to Legends ZA anymore. I'm really not. I kind of feel like it is a step down from what Legends Arceus was. Like, in terms of the world, story, I can't speak for it now. But, of course, there are some comparisons that we've been finding very, very funny. But so what was revealed in the leaks was, the entire list of megas. That's the only thing that I'm happy about.
Yikes.
The mega, the ones who are getting mega, that's the only thing that I was happy about. The sad thing apart of, like, I just kind of feel like, bro, like, so now we have full confirmation that the entire game is taking place in this city.
Yep.
Like, no offense to Lumio City, but it was cool. But we're finally going back to the first Pokemon region that got cut short, because a lot of people really understand the development cycle that happened with this game. It was like X and Y. We thought we was going to get like Pokemon Z, or maybe hopefully not what they did with Black and White 2, even though they were able to spin that in a good way to an extent. But I was like, yeah, bro, people was looking forward to Pokemon Z. No, we're going to Hawaii. And people was like, What?
We're taking Marowak to the luau.
Yeah, so it's just like, so okay, so now we got another Legends game which takes place in a present day, so it's after X and Y. Okay. Oh yes, the story is you're based in Luminosity about a redevelopment program. I'm like, so how does this work? I'm supposed to capture a Tyranitar on these streets?
Yes. In the wild zones, Tim. You saw the wild
But
zones.
then my thing about it is, hold on, there's other things about Legends the Legends games that doesn't make sense. All right, so you're bringing back megas, but in the Legends games, there's no abilities. So that kind of defeats the purpose for a lot of these megas, like Mega Kangaskhan, for example, Mega Salamence. So how does this work? Yeah, oh, but then, we finally got no more turn-based combat. I'm like, yeah, bro, that's cool. It looks pretty. But that's what it just is. It just looks pretty. And my thing about it is, and I keep it, it's like, bro, y'all took a year off. And this is all that you have? And that's the thing that I really just like appalled about. Like, and even this next trailer, they really revealed more about the battles that you'll be having. Because that's one thing a lot of people didn't like about Legends Arceus was there wasn't a lot of Pokemon trainer battles.
Mm-hmm.
There was only like a lot like, yeah, you're fighting wild Pokemon in the wild, but okay, so yeah, there's a big battle royale, battle city going on. But I was like, that's it. And then even in terms of the controversy, around Typhlosion, it's like, okay, so the biggest the biggest thing that I really enjoyed about Legends was the regional variants. I felt like regional variants and Mega Evolution has been one of the biggest gimmicks that has actually worked. That actually works, and it actually opens up a lot of variety in the battle system of Pokemon. But my thing about it is, all right, say bring a Mega Evolution back, but okay, so the Kalos starters, they've been confirmed that they're getting Megas. Oh yeah, but the Legend Z starters are getting Megas too. I was like, wait, that's weird. Why are you guys doing this again? You did the same thing with Charizard in X and Y. He got 2 forms. Or Blastoise and Venusaur, they got forms. But you got this random Torchic who got a mega form, and then it wasn't until Oraz that came around. Oh yeah, Sceptile and Swampert, they got megas now too.
Mm-hmm.
So you got 2 Johto starters. The 2 Johto starters have megas now, and 1 Unova starter.
Mm-hmm.
But Typhlosion was just in the last Legends game, and so you mean to tell me the most favorite starter out of the entire Johto run is not getting a mega?
Favorite starter by particular audiences. All right, I've always been a Totodile since day one. Totodile fan since day one.
Honestly, when I say this, and it's so funny, I had a little debate about this with another, a Bahamian friend who plays Pokemon. She's like, I hate how they always treat Meganium so bad. I was like, well, bro, like nobody picked her.
Nobody.
Everybody picked either Totodile or Cyndaquil.
Yeah.
Because the game logically, if you pick Chikorita, bro, you are going to struggle.
Mm-hmm.
It's just very weird of how they're trying to balance this off now. So you mean to tell me, all right, first of all, the main question is, are you bringing back Mega Evolutions permanently? And I'm not talking about that Champions game. I'm talking about like in the main series, are you bringing Mega Evolution back? Because how are you just going to have 2 Johto starters and a fan favorite is just what? Oh, but he got a regional variant. Like, no, like you were supposed to even that out. Because that's what people thought. A lot of people thought, all right, so since you chose these particular starters, we thought we were going to get 3 Legends games. So that way you even all of them out with regional variants.
Mm-hmm.
But then now, Game Freak just be throwing random curveballs. But then, to get back on topic, like Legends ZH is looking like Legends Light to me.
Yeah.
First of all, bro, like I'm really just appalled. Like, bro, you mean to tell me we're doing all of this in this city? Like, it looks good to an extent. But then you mean to tell me, like, I'm literally supposed to catch a Tyranitar in the streets?
Yes. In the wild zones where the Pokemon all conveniently congregate. The wild Pokemon.
Bro.
The non-trainer
You,
Pokemon live
you
in
mean to
perfect
tell me
harmony within the
a
city
Tyranitar,
limits.
a Pokemon that has the power to level a mountain?
Hey, I'm not the game developer here. I already told you where I stand. A 3. A
Yeah.
3. A 3 is where I stand.
And then now
On their best day.
it's just looking very, very odd. And I know, I get it. A lot of people are going to support it because, you know, it's a return back to Kalos. And a lot of people like myself are excited to see the megas and how the story turns out. But like, that's my only thing. Like, but then it's like, bro, like, this is really hollow. And I kind of feel like Pokemon has really come to like a very shallow point where, like, bro, are y'all even trying to raise the bar anymore?
No, like I said in the group chat, I got about 90 billion reasons why. That's not important to me. Matter of fact, I'm about to drop another pack on the TCG on your phone. So you have another reason to put another $1 billion into my account. Please. That's it.
And to be honest, that's why I think that's where it lies, bro. Like, since there are a multi-billion company from multiple different properties, I kind of feel like sometimes, bro, their games are just like on the back burner now. They're just there for just the holiday release. Like, yeah, you know, we took 1 year off. Don't be shy. You know, we got some new mega evolutions for you. Yes, the mega evolution list is pretty dope. I'll give you that. But everything else is just.
I want to renovate the west wing of my summer house, so I was thinking we'll drop a new Pokemon game, clean up again.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it's going to be, bro. Just clean up again, bro. And it's just like,
once you told me that Scarlet and Violet still did numbers, despite everything we saw online, I said, "Oh, it's over. It's over. They got you guys. They got you. They'll either hit you over the head with nostalgia." The anime, even with the new protagonist, seems to be getting received very fairly well, from what I understand. And
the new protagonist, because I watched one of the episodes, like a couple of episodes. It's definitely for a new generation of kids. Like, it definitely
who are
is
their target audience.
Yeah, it's definitely for a new generation of kids, because I do feel like they saw the burnout of having Ash too much. Because first of all, I did feel the same way. Like, why don't you just do what you did in Pokemon Generations and Evolutions, where when we go to the new region, you follow the format of the games, where we follow those protagonists.
That's a fallback plan when they want to make it to Trillion and Sadness. That's right there on the shelf next to your Eevee evolutions, Tim.
But you know why they didn't want to do it? Because it would have been too much like Digimon. Because I realized
when has that stopped them before?
Kanto and Johto are very similar to what?
When has that stopped them before? Ever?
The first two Digidestined is identically similar, and then Hoenn. The third season of Digimon. Oh yeah, it's all new people. Oh, the fourth one, yeah, it's all new people. And that's when I realized, bro, it would have been the same format as Digimon.
You might as well copy the whole test the way they've been going, Digimon.
Bro.
Just take all the answers.
My goodness.
Well, both cases at this point.
They even threw in some Yu-Gi-Oh elements in there, bro. It's crazy, bro. It is crazy.
Like I've come to realize as I get older. I remember hearing a phrase that I definitely rebelled against, like the thought of in early college years of like perception is everything. Right. Because I'm like, no, that can't be. It can't be, because when, like, how can you deny hard facts? How can you deny the truth? How can you deny what, like, you know, is actual factual? And it's like, no, perception can skew reality for most people. So, like, you think of Pokemon is basically the Japanese version of Disneyland at this point, where it's like, well, Disney, how could he possibly be all those things they accuse him of being? That's impossible. And it's like, well, if you crack open a book, let's just say he had flaws like the rest of humanity. You know, like, it's like, it's the same thing with this. It's like Pokemon, like, there's a lot of glaring things that should be corrected given the level of revenue that they bring in. And, you know, they're more than capable, because every now and then you'll get a tease. Like, I remember when they're doing, was it the Legends anime, right? The anime shorts, or was it Journeys? What was it called again?
Yeah, Legends.
Those were fire. I'm like, Pokemon,
amazing.
made this?
Amazing.
They've been sitting on this all this time.
Evolutions.
evolutions. Yeah, I'm like, so you guys can do it. You just choose not to. Like you can't. You know what your original audience is probably looking for, but you refuse to give it to them. Okay. Okay. You know, it's just. I mean, anytime, and you know, when Zod drops, we could take it back to Formula for a three-peat, for all I'm concerned. Because I don't understand how you bring in that amount of revenue and don't do anything substantial with it, and then have the audacity, knowing that you hit the Sharingan Eye to Digimon for the last decade, the audacity to look at Power World and said it's too similar. I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon. It's like that one the Office meme where it's like, here's one photo, here's an identical photo. What's the difference? And then Pam's like, it's the same photo. Like that's Pokemon and Digimon nowadays. It's the same thing, just with a different name. We're not sticking eyes on a pair of keys and naming a different creature. We're just copying homework. Man. But speaking of Digimon, you know, the PSS approved of this week. Digimon Con was this past week, and it's the 25th anniversary of Digimon. Not Digimon, as we all know, is not a perfect series. You know, it's actually the topic of our Otaku Insights tonight. But they released a 4-minute, I guess, promotional video that takes place somewhere after Try, but before Last Kazuna, showing the season 1 and season 2 kids, and kind of gave us everything that we kind of wanted to see on, or at least I wanted to see on the animated screen. Right, you got to see all the different armor evolutions for a lot of the season 2 characters. A lot of the designs of the college years was present, and they were good. Right, it wasn't like a design where I was like, "Oof, Ken looking a little, TK looking a little," you know, like all the designs kind of made sense for where the characters were at that point in their lives. And you know, for a series that, at least in the West, was kind of unfairly thrown underneath the label of being a unashamed Pokemon clone. Yeah, I'm glad to see that they made it a quarter of a century, and you know, and still seem to be doing fairly well. Now, the way they treat us Americans when it comes to Digimon properties is a different conversation. But seeing that video of seeing the season 1 and season 2, how was that for you guys? Like, what did you take away from seeing the promo video?
Honestly, bro, it feels like, you know when rappers used to do like double albums?
Yes.
That's how it feels.
But in a good way? Because like a good double album, or
a good
like, are we talking about Speak About Sub Below, or are we talking about
a good double album?
Okay.
Like in the sense of like, you know, they want to like showcase different parts of their styles, but they don't know when to release it, so they just do both at the same time. Like, honestly, the first 2 generations of the Digidestin was such a very blessing to see. It showed you progression, and it showed you, like, you know, the ties that they have together. Like, even when I saw an adult version of Ken, I was like, bro, this is Ken, bro. This is that little kid who was the villain, but wasn't really the villain.
Right. Who was whipping Agumon episode 1 with the whip. Just, yeah.
Look how far this person has come. Of course, Davis is whatever. Like, even the way how Matt and Ty are talking to each other, bro, like that definitely feels like Martin and Will from Bad Boys to Life. Bad Boys to Life, like, yeah, we may fight, you may say something to me that I might have to punch you in the mouth. But once this evil duo comes about, hey, y'all boys in the backseat, wake up.
Right. It's time. Yeah.
So it was very good. The art style was amazing.
Yes.
The art style was amazing. Like, because it shows you the maturity of the series, that, you know, you've grown alongside them as well. If you didn't grow up during that time, you did watch the old ones up until now. So in a sense, you kind of grown up here.
And I think it does a good job of acknowledging that. Like, I think they do a good job of saying, like, we kind of know where the rough age of our fan base is with this particular thing of, like, you know, Ty, Matt are in the car talking about learning different languages to get better job opportunities. It's like, that would have sounded crazy to our kid brain, but they're grown like we're grown. It's like, yeah, of course being bilingual makes sense. You know, it's just like, man, this is okay. Yeah, but Esrin, what about you? How did what were your takeaways from the video?
Hey man, it's emotional, man. You know what I'm saying? Like it's that Saturday morning when we seen them digivolve to their peak, man. That Saturday was, I remember it. I woke up, had some cinnamon toast crunch before they did the ingredients change. Remember that classic pack
before they stepped on it, like just like they stepped on Pop Tarts.
Yeah, feel me? So, yeah, it was just like it was a breath of fresh air, man. I really enjoyed it, man. Just like how I enjoyed on the Pokemon, like those story shorts. It was just nice to see, man. My favorite episode was when Deoxys versus Rayquaza, and the Rayquaza came out and handled Deoxys, and then he captured in space. That to me was like, and then you finding out how deadly Kyogre and Groudon were. Like those were not like they did not make me feel that way in Emerald and Sapphire. You know, like you felt it, but you ain't feel it. Like, yo, this is a calamity, a Final Fantasy world-ending Pokemon. You know what I'm saying? And that man thought he was gonna control
right. Yeah.
And he got a fatality. He suffered a fatality off screen, of course.
Both of them.
Both of them. There was no he was gone. No, he's gone. He was gone.
They were killed. They were killed.
No, we know. I'm just saying.
So yeah, it was man, it was super nostalgic. It was beautiful, man.
But Digimon, they used to die right in your face. They die right. Yes. Black War Greymon did not die off screen.
You know what I'm saying? It was nice seeing everybody's lives and where they're at. Of course, Izzy's doing IT work. He's the next Bulma / Elon.
For real.
That kid saved the universe twice, man. Like 3 times actually. You know what I'm saying? And he's the one who can help them crack the code to go even further. So yeah, I just particularly loved everything, man. The animation was nice, and then just seeing where they're at in their lives was nice. Davis and the rest of them. Yeah.
I don't really have too much to add on your guys' points. I agree with everything you guys said. I think it was an equal parts nostalgia. I think like I know there's that immediate like thought process of where we're at in our lives. Of like, does this mean we're gonna get a story set in this timeline? Ooh, but then like my other part of me, you know, especially the Dragon Ball part of me of like, you know what, this is enough. Like, let this kind of be it. You know, I don't really need something set in this timeline. It is cool. I'm glad I got to see all the armor forms, you know, on animation style, but we don't have to expand on this. We really don't. And to be kind of realistic, the ending of season 2 is a little divisive at best. Of like, everyone gets a Digimon. Everybody, they all have partners. Even their kids have their Digimon have Digimon for their kids. All right. You know, so like it did kind of tie back into that storyline where everyone's kind of like, I kind of wish y'all had kind of retconned that just a little bit, but whatever, you know, we're here. You know, none of our childhood series were perfect. But yeah, for me, I'm like, that's why I feel like it gets the PSS stamp of approval. It's like they did enough without doing too much. You know, they pulled on the right amount of strings without overreaching, and I'm fine with it. I have no active desire to see it be expanded upon in any way or form. But getting into our last topic of the night, the Otaku Insights, I figured given it is the 25th anniversary of Digimon, kind of like what we did with God of War, the 20th anniversary. Joy, you kind of told us already, like kind of what your first experience was with Digimon, but what was your guys' first experience with Digimon? How did you feel like it set itself apart compared to Pokemon? Where was your fall off? Is there anything that the series could do as a franchise that could bring you back again? Like what's your kind of retrospect on Digimon?
I'll go first. To be honest, bro, I started Digimon from the beginning. From that first Kuwagumon episode, like that was the beginning for me. And I kept going with Digimon all the way up to the fourth generation of Digidestin. That that was the one that I was like, you know what? Yeah,
It's
I
time.
I mean, no, it was some interesting themes. It was some interesting themes, bro. Like, that's what I really liked about Digimon was the lore research of the monsters, bro. Like, you're able to fuse lore with like mythology with techno terms like vaccine, data, virus. Even the levels of where you go to, like, you know, baby, in training, rookie, champion, ultimate, mega. Then you had fusions, then you had armor evolutions, then you had warp this, you had this and that. There were just so many factors, man. And even like the movies took it even further. Like I said, the first two, they felt like a good double album. The third one, the third set of kids, they were interesting because like the whole trading card game aspect, like I saw what they were doing. I saw what they were doing because that was around the time, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh was very peak, Pokemon trading card game was very peak, but then it's like when it came to Digimon, you never really thought of like, oh, cards. But then you know what? That was a creative way to do it.
And it makes sense because they're data technically at the end of the day. And what do we do to data? We edit it. We upgrade it. We delete certain things we don't need. Like it fit into the lore like in a natural way.
That Digivice was like a scanner.
Yes,
like,
yeah.
I was like,
you're uploading pretty much.
Oh, no. You think this Terriermon is a regular Terriermon? Nah. Nah. So like it was very interesting because at first you thought maybe is this like a continuation of the first two where everybody just has one? Like no, you saw like well, no. Then why is this? So like oh, it is a separate storyline. But it was great, man. It was great. They definitely upped up a lot of certain characters from certain lower points. You know, sometimes, you know, especially growing up in a Christian family, you had to turn the volume
down on the religious themes. Yeah, heavily.
Yeah,
oh, y'all like Angemon and Devimon? Well, here's
boy
Abyssmon, Bephometmon, Antichristmon.
Bro, while you eating your cereal, you had to turn the volume down.
Bro, no, you're right because the Venomyotismon episode was like, and it's like, and 666, and the beast will return. I say,
Myotismon, Myotismon season was crazy.
Your Caribbean Christian parent walking through the room like, what did they just say?
Yeah, I thought it was about cute pets. What did they say about the beast?
And then, of course, season 4 took it even further.
I kind of checked out at that point, so I only know the names.
Season 4 took it to the next level, dog.
I was like, Lucy? Who?
And then Angel at that, right?
I mean, season 2 gave you Armageddon. Like what are we talking about? Like we were already there.
Armageddon. You could think of Armageddon, the definition.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like Lucy,
I mean, the first boss was Devimon, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and he was terrifying.
You could call
the
him
long limbs, the long fingers. No, you kind of could have got away with it, but when you think about it, you was like, yo, he was not like a friendly looking enemy at all.
No.
And then here comes this character called Impmon, and they just go ham.
Yeah.
Beelzebub. Whoa.
Yeah, Beelzebub. Woo!
Yo.
So I mean, but overall, man, it was great. It was great, and you know, one thing I appreciate about Digimon is they were very sure of themselves. They didn't try too hard. They stuck to the plan. They stuck to the plan. They stuck to the plan of who they were. Like, yes, you know, the world may try to throw them in a competition with XYZ, but at the end of the day, they're still here.
Yeah,
because they stood on a solid foundation.
They did enough to stand out where it's like the people who got it get it. Like they're like, I understand what makes this not even Pokemon Digimon are the same in naming convention only. You know, like the themes and the things that are covered and the levels to which they're covered are on entirely different wavelengths.
Very different.
Yeah. But Ashton, what about you? What got you like into Digimon in terms of like what was it about the themes or even the forms or whatever?
Where did Digimon air? Right? Was it on Fox Kids?
Fox Kids, yeah.
Yeah, it was just okay. There was a whole man. We had like 3 Monster Ranchers didn't make it, but
No,
Monster Ranchers was there. You know, and so we had like 3 alternatives. Like, hey, the more the merrier. Oh, this is not quite like Pokemon, but like they evolve, but they can go back to their regular forms. I think I like this more. And so I guess it was something that was more like, a T-Rex. I love dinosaurs at the time. T-Rex is one of my favorite.
Can't lose.
You can't lose, man. And he's yellow, and then like that's like the best designed T-Rex color scheme, and it's like a adorable / intimidating at the same time. And you know, I loved it, man, and I just thought it was cool. And then he turns into a giant T-Rex with a male whack crown. You know what I'm saying? Male whack. You feel me? Just male whack and Cubone just and giant just, and then there's metal forms, and then you look at Garurumon. He got a wolf with jeans.
Yeah,
and it just keeps the form a cactus with punch boxing gloves. I'm like, yo, this is hard. I'm like, dog, this is gangster. I'm losing my mind. Then you have then it just keeps going. A fiery phoenix bird, pterodactyl, and I'm just like, yo, I want more of this. I didn't know I needed this. And then the villains were colorful, you know, and they were interesting. Not that first season.
All of them.
Not that first season. That first season, I was like, look, the devil gotta go. You know, he was terrorizing them.
To this day, I still say the Dark Masters, like from design wise.
Oh man, and yeah, so that was my first.
All of them.
Yeah, those were my first seasons. What's that? Digimon with the mouth that's always open. Got the teeth.
Open.
And I guess
Wildmon.
He was kind of like
Ogremon. You talking about the one that the green one? Yeah.
And it was interesting, man. It was super funny at times, and I love the color palette, man. I loved how they color. I love the watercolor approach, man. It was just a perfect Saturday. And like, hey, what's this cartoon? And then now you get sucked into the world. I think that was, and I remember being able to follow the entire season until like, yo, Anjumon transforming, going back to school, talking about it. Like, yo, no, I like Anjumon. Because Panama was just like, yo, this Digimon is
the rabbit with ears.
Pathetic. Yo,
a bubble of air, man.
I'm like, man, you Karibo. Yeah. Yo, get up out of here, man. Karibo of the pointless Digimon, dog. And then he kept going. And then until he wasn't pointless anymore, and I was like, Fist of Faith? Oh. Y'all hitting me with these names, man. I'm getting. Then I see Leomon, Fist of the Beast King. I said, that's the greatest name of an attack. Fight me on the hill. You can't beat that.
Bloody Roar, how did you miss this? It was right there.
Fist of the Beast King. And every time I'm in my room just punching the air, Fist of the Beast King. After that, yeah, it was the perfect. We all experienced it, man. Like we were all there to like. Now look at how we're talking about it now. I'm like, man, like, I mean, do you remember Seadramon? And then what? When they went back, what happened to Seadramon?
Became Metal. It's like, oh, y'all are back.
He became Metal Seadramon.
Right? I ain't the same Seadramon no more.
And we look, and he doing that. What's that attack he had?
The River of Power.
Out his nose.
Yeah, River of Power.
And I'm just like, come on, man.
Scramble.
There was banking. There was clearing it. What he did to that beluga whale, that whale was gone. Disintegrated.
Gone.
They was mourning. I was sad.
And then how like Machine Dramon kind of gave you like Terminator vibes.
Oh, definitely. 1000%.
He had that. I was just waiting for his chest to open up, and I was like, yeah,
Giga Cannon. Yeah.
and
Whew.
wreaking havoc. And yeah, it was just Digimon was amazing, man. Like it just hit all the cues of the 90s. You had the goggles. Everybody wanted to be like a inline skater / BMX because it was on the come up, and it was just a new thing. And so like it was perfect, man. That's what I remember Digimon the most, man, with my cereal. I know what cereal I was eating. That's how crazy it was.
Yeah. For me, I think I noticed for me, like looking back on my childhood, I'm like, man, what kind of drew me to this? What kind of drew me to that? There's always like very distinct style choices that catch my eye, even as a kid. So I remember, of course, you're hearing about Digimon, right? Oh, it's a Pokemon clone. It's like Dory said, it's kind of like Monster Rancher. It's another monster themed show, right? So Saturday, like the weekends, I could watch as much TV as I want to. So of course, I'm gonna watch everything just because. So I think it just so happened that it was like showing this first or second episode. So even the opening credits of seeing these kids like spinning and like free falling into like this like literal digital landscape, I'm like,
The song got you.
Yeah, I'm like, what is this?
1000.
What is this?
1000 kid.
And then does the arc change into? I'm like, okay, you've got my attention.
That's true. That's 100, man.
Yeah, and then like you said, it's just like the unapologetic decisions. Where it's like, even though we know like from our adult brains that like Ash Ketchum and all of them, they're all from like an Asian origin. Digimon told you, no, these are 7 Japanese children who came from Japan that happened to be at the same summer camp. His name is Tai Kamiya. Like, I cannot make it any clearer that honestly, he's a Japanese kid.
To be honest, I forgot about that until I saw the anniversary trailer. I was like, the way they were saying they were saying like their full names.
Yes.
I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, Yamato Matt Ishida. Yeah, I'm like, these are Japanese children. So I think for me it was, of course, when you're a kid, like you have like this almost subconscious desire to be able to understand adult things of like, I'm cool now because I can take this concept and not cry because it's not too overwhelming for my child mind, right? So like you're watching Digimon and like Jory was saying, it's like these Digimon are getting killed. Like they're not fainting, they're not going to Nurse Joy. No, he's dead. Like he's gone.
A certain type of dead, because remember, some of them could be brought back through their data being refreshed.
True. You're absolutely right. But I think even that concept of like, that was something that was like, look at Team Rocket. Team Rocket should have died about 45 times over by the time, but the amount of attacks that they've been hit, and they just blast off again as if they're not human beings. Yeah.
Whereas like Digimon, skydiving distance.
Like Joy says, like
Jesse and James don't exist in that manga, so.
Oh well, there you go. But so like for me, like Digimon is like it wasn't afraid. Of course, it did it in a more child friendly way, but it wasn't afraid to introduce kids to the realities of the world in a way that made sense. Of like, hey, just like you're going to lose your first goldfish, or whatever the case may be, sometimes these things that were with you for a certain point in your life, they're not with you anymore.
As a perfect example, remember when Beelzemon killed the girl's Leomon?
Yeah.
And he wanted her forgiveness.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, that's very tough.
Because he absorbed his data so he can't be reborn. It's yeah.
It's like you didn't even expect yourself to become like part of this team, but you do realize you committed murder, right?
Yeah, a lot of it.
So
that was the thing for me. I'm like, it wasn't afraid to get serious. Like Doris said, it was funny. There was a lot. Edamon, hilarious. Even though I know I was supposed to be taking it seriously in my mind, the Elvis impersonation voice. Hey, Edamon's in the house. Oh, like it's just like,
or even like Datamon is like, bro, y'all can tell this dude is evil, right?
Right. The fixed crooked smile. It was not a warning flag at all.
Man, that man was wreaking havoc.
Yeah. I just like the again, the battles felt more at stakes because you knew there were things to lose. Like Tim said, the payoff of like, you're told time and time and time again that the digital world moves faster than the real world, but you don't see it until you come back. And it's like, yeah, while y'all were gone, these virus types just took over. Like they all have their empires on each corner of the digital world. Like this is what y'all left, So even seeing things like that, the idea of fighting despair itself with Apocalypse, right, and him like deleting them, it's like that was just like, again, you're 8 years old, 7 years old, and you're just like, man, he did what? His attack is called what? The Big Bang, man. So they died. I just felt like it was one of those things where, of course, as time goes on, you kind of grow out of it. I think the thing that did Digimon in for me is that they kept trying new things to the point that it didn't make sense to me anymore. Of like I said to y'all before, I'm like, once the kids became like, even season 3 when they started doing the bio merge, I'm like, yeah, I don't know about this. It's Growlmon and his human partner in Gallantmon's body. I'm like, walking a fine line here.
I just couldn't get I just somewhat hated that version of Digimon because it was so. I'm like, bruh. Let me see. I knew what I was drawn to subconsciously, but I didn't know yet because I hated the tone. Like everybody was just downers. Everybody was just like, yeah, so I don't care what it like. I hated Hero because of that from G Gundam.
Really?
I gravitated more towards Duo. Yeah, I liked the Duo and Wu Fei. Those were my favorite. I hated Hero as a kid because I was like, yo, what's wrong with this guy? You're gonna blow up your cool Gundam? What's wrong with you? Versus Duo, who wants to keep his Gundam.
I mean,
I'm like, you trying to blow up?
He was about to get compromised. Remember, they couldn't let it get into enemy hands.
No, but at the same time, in my opinion, I'm not thinking like that. I'm thinking like Neo. I could save both. That's what I was on. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna save both. And so I liked the Duo and I liked the Wu Fei because Wu Fei was just blunt. Was like, you're pretty good for a girl, and it was just like, yeah, he got a dragon arm that's just grabbing people's. I'm like, nah, you cut a U.S. freight in half. I mean, not a U.S. freight, but it looked like a ship. You know what I'm saying? He just cuts it in half. It's a Gundam. That's the first death sites. I'm like, come on, man. And then Duo was just cool. The voice actor, I was a big fan of that voice actor. I was a huge fan of that voice actor, man. I to this day, I'm like, yo, where is he? But
Wikipedia.
Yeah, man, that was my favorite voice actor, man. At the time, he just had that spark, and so,
that's another thing too. Digimon, the voice actors. I've said this a lot of times. I think the English dub obviously they did their American thing that they did in that time of like, we're gonna change these characters completely, tone of voice. But from what I was seeing, it made sense. Like there was never really a voice where I was like, why do they sound like this? Even their Digivolve forms all having a different, distinct voice. I'm like, this is how War Greymon sounds. Like it sounds raw, and he sounds fire.
and then for me it was just like that third season I just couldn't get over. It got better towards the second half when all the Digimon just started showing up and you had new characters. That's when it started to expand. But when I was just following these three, I said, yo, this is not it. That's just like when Power Rangers just had 3 Power Rangers. That was it. That was the entire season. I was like, nah, fam.
I like season 3. I like it. I mean, obviously,
I liked
season 1 and
it towards
season 2.
the end. I actually am a fan of part 4.
That's where they lost me. I tried. Yeah, I really tried.
I actually like
when
part
they had
4, man.
The two types of spirits where they one was like a beast spirit, the other one was like a humanoid one. Yeah,
but only for a certain, favorite protagonist in that. Not everybody got the best of both worlds with that.
Season 2 Digimon was cool. I just liked Ty more than I did Davis.
That's the sentiment of most people. Like, they're too similar for Davis to be interesting on his own. I mean,
Davis was more of a coward to me compared to the English version. He was a coward to me in a way. I found him as a coward. Like,
To be honest, Ken was the highlight for me. Ken.
Yeah.
Ken, and I also appreciated Kari's growth. Kari and Yoli were actually very interesting characters to me.
Yeah. I think Ken's road to redemption was very interesting. I would agree with you on that. I liked Davis. I like Davis.
Cody stayed on the back burner too much. Cody kind of reminds me of like a Choji. Like he's there, but not really there.
Yeah, and his storyline was interesting, but it's like it's not, with you already have a cast of proven characters from season 1, and then these older kids in season 2 are more interesting, respectfully, than what you got going on in your little depressed life. And you out of the 3 new kids, your Digimon is the least interesting design wise. An armadillo, come on, no.
I mean, no. When he transformed that was hard. I don't care. That
was Digimon, but
yeah.
But then you stand him next to Flame Dramon, and it's
they look hard, man. He had the 3 drills. I'm sorry, that was a fire design, man. That was a fire design. But like season 4, I mean, Lobomon, man. I'm like, yo, Lobomon was just too hard.
The designs are cool. I like Agunimon. It's cool.
Agunimon was cool.
Yeah.
Lobomon, and then you had the
beetle. They reneged and became a version of Greymon and Garurumon in the end.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then became
now you realize there's this whole lore.
Our powers combined. Susanomon.
Like there's this whole legacy of Greymon and Garurumon out there.
Yeah, they're all lineage now
to explore. But
yeah. I mean, there's about 5 different Omnimon now, so I mean, you shouldn't be surprised.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah. They know their cash cow.
That's the only part of Digimon I don't like. Like, oh yeah, here's Omnimon Gold, or here's Omnimon Platinum. It's like,
yeah, even Digimon Tri. Here's Omnimon with the powers of the other Digimon absorbed. Okay. That's different.
Okay. Super Saiyan 5 Goku.
I'm about to say, so Super Saiyan Blue and Digimon World. All right. This is what we're doing, huh? Just repainting the same old design. Cool. But yeah, I think for me, just to answer my last question, like I think Digimon's in a place now where I'll always kind of be a casual observer. Like I think I'll always kind of have a general interest of what the franchise is doing. I don't know if I will ever kind of get into it at the degree that I did when I was younger, only because, like I said, there was just too many changes that have been made where I'm like, I'm not on board with everything that they're doing. I also kind of feel like the way they treat American fans is just not great. Like, yeah, we're going to do this Digivice for season 1 and Digivice for season 2 with all the things that you really would have wanted when you were a kid, but only in Japan. It's never coming to America. It's just like, well, I mean, if you're not going to invite me, like I'm not going to.
Yeah, right. Again, if I ain't invited to the cookout, man, forget it.
Like, I'm not trying to find my way in. Like, okay, this might be the biggest shine Digimon gets on this platform. If that's the case, if I can't participate, So I just figure like
y'all want to purposely tell me no,
right? You're not even giving me the option. So I think ultimately it's good to see that. That thought process we all had of like, 90s might have been the last blessed era, right? And you look at these franchises that have stood the test of time of like, everything kind of stems from this, anything that I wouldn't even mind seeing God of War inspired IPs from other developers. Like I thought the copy era of like Dante's Inferno and all the other stuff they were trying to do, wasn't mad at it. So it's interesting to see, like, I wonder, for this next generation of kids, like, what will be their Digimon, right? Like, what will be that thing of like, here's, I look at Pokemon as like, at its core, it's a stepping stone, right? It's like anime light, basically for kids. So like, you can tune in, you can tune out, there's different lores and properties to pull from this series, and you can kind of go on to something else. Like, I wonder what that looks like for like this next generation of kids who are definitely going to be in a more anime centric world than we were growing up. Like, anime is getting greenlit every other day at this point. So That's my thoughts for that. Any closing thoughts, guys, before we close out this episode?
Pokemon do better.
What you said, Tim?
I said Pokemon do better.
Pokemon do better. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. In fact, I would. Yeah. We'll leave it at that. They should do better. They should do better. But ladies, gentlemen, this has been another episode of the Press Start Select podcast. If you made it this far, once again, we appreciate y'all. All the comments, the agreements, the disagreements. Again, we're always down for another paragraph. It's never not entertaining, even when it's tearing us apart. So feel free to leave us a comment on any platform you decide to listen it through. If you're on YouTube in particular, please make sure to like and subscribe. As we said multiple times, we are on the journey to get our subscriber count to a certain amount and our watch hours to a certain amount. And anytime it's shared and liked, it helps with the algorithm and we perform a lot better and get a lot more visibility, which is what we're trying to do. So any support and all support is appreciated. Till next time, I am Antonius the Gamer.
Yeah.
And
let us know what you guys want to see more of, what segments, continue to share your thoughts on certain ideas and, we'll have more of a...
Definitely. There's definitely some ideas that have been shared that we will be incorporating in the coming weeks, but we're always open to more, anything that we might have overlooked or not given enough attention to detail that we should have. Definitely open to talking about it. So, let us know in the comments. If you want to do it a little bit more anonymously, press start select podcast at gmail.com is the best way to submit any inquiries. And till next time, Antonius the Gamer, Super SSS rank, Mikkel Smith. Peace.